Chapter 946. Wei Chong also tried to use sound transmission, but his honor seemed to have turned off the function. There was no response at all. Seems like his honor is very angry this time. Who asked your wife to call me trash so many times? It would be weird if his honor didn't flip out. But now, I have no choice but to disturb his honor. Lady Dodgy, there is truly an urgent matter that concerns the safety of the entire Wuxia Empire. Please make an exception. Wei Chong said with a pleading tone. Although this Dodgy is just a maid, her appearance is so flirtatious, she might even become his honor's wife in the future. His honor is also nurturing her. Dodgy's duty is to protect her master. Other matters have nothing to do with her. That's why she insisted on her own principles. No. The mouths of the subordinates twitched. This Dodgy is too stubborn, right? If his honor continues to play inside for another month, Wuxia Empire would probably be in complete chaos. Wei Chong slowly raised his head, and his gaze became strange. Lady Dodgy, my temper isn't as good as you think it is. Following Wei Chang's words, everyone's gaze changed. What is Uncle Wei planning to do? Is he going to get serious right in front of his honor's door? My God, this is too terrifying. Dodgy has never been afraid of others' provocations, even if it was her master's subordinates. I'll tell you then. My temper isn't as good as you think it is. You want to see Master today. Unless you defeat me. Dodgy slowly walked out of the barrier that she set up. This was a type of soundproof barrier, and it was very sturdy when used by Dodgy. Everyone was astonished. Were they going to start fighting? Wei Chong versus Dodgy? This is too explosive, right? Everyone swallowed their saliva, feeling that they should go and prepare some small stools, melon seeds, betel nuts, and mineral water. Then they should observe whether or not this awesome fight would destroy the entire Wuxia Empire. When his honor woke up and realized that he was standing on an empty prairie, I wonder what his honor's expression will be like. All of the subordinates retreated, leaving an empty space for the two to fight. To be honest, other than the 7 deadly sins, the others had never seen Wei Chong fight before, and they had never seen Dodgy fight before. However, since Dodgy dares to talk back to Wei Chong like this, she must have some skills. After all, Dodgy is his honor's servant. How can she not have some strength? And looking at his aura, he was even more awesome than Wei Chong. If Wei Chong were to lose today, he would be making a fool of himself. Will Wei Chong lose? In Wei Chang's heart, other than his honor, no one can defeat him. Lady Dodgy, let me ask you one more time. Can you help us report to his honor? Wei Chong asked gravely. Dodgy also replied coldly. No. All right. Then don't blame me. Then come and give it a try. Dodgy's expression turned cold, and a terrifying aura gradually appeared around her. Sensing this aura, the expressions of the subordinates changed slightly. This Dodgy still had some weight. Wei Chong was not to be outdone. A powerful pressure rushed towards Dodgy. The black fog was like a giant crocodile with its mouth wide open, ready to devour Dodgy at any time. Dodgy is an orange card, the strongest existence in the system, and she lost just like that. Isn't that a little too easy? Dodgy's original form was a 9-tailed fox, so Dodgy was also considered an alien. Around Dodgy's delicate body, a white fighting aura emerged, forming a huge fox face on top of Dodgy's head. She did not panic at all when facing the giant crocodile. She even grinned and let out a low roar. The animals that were formed from the two auras actually let out roars. This caused the subordinates to exclaim in admiration. This is what a battle between experts should be like. Just the aura alone is enough to make a comparison. Truly formidable. Wei Chang's wrists could be seen moving closer. When his wrists moved closer, a huge pressure was produced, and that black giant crocodile actually completely fused into Wei Chang's hands. Meanwhile, Wei Chang's hands slowly moved onto the right side of his waist. His body rapidly expanded, and a huge aura revolved around his body. Looking at this scene, Yi Hong said in a low voice, I seem to have seen this kind of action somewhere before. LV Liang frowned. That's right, I seem to have seen it somewhere before as well. However, the blood demon suddenly said, this is a move from Dragon Ball. Everyone was startled upon hearing that. This blood demon actually reads Dragon Ball? However, looking at Wei Chang's actions, everyone felt that. This is plagiarism. In the end, actions are only actions. All of these are just casual actions, And Wei Chong is just doing it casually to liven up the atmosphere. Tortoise! Wei Chong shouted out the first word, and both of his hands were immediately wrapped by a black energy ball. This terrifying might was reckoned to be able to blow Wuxia Empire into pieces. Pai! When the second word sounded out, the sturdy rock beneath Wei Chang's feet instantly turned into powder, and a ferocious astral wind began forming. Ki! When the third word sounded out, traces of electric currents could actually be seen coming out from the black energy ball on Wei Chang's hands. Do Fusher exclaimed in admiration, "This is at least a Super 7 Kamehameha. Uncle Wei is indeed formidable." Gong! When the fourth word sounded out, the entire sky turned black, and the sunlight was blocked out, making the entire sky look like night. Poof! Wei Chong could be seen pushing his hands forward, and a terrifying aura that carried along a destructive aura rushed towards Daji. Wei Chong was very afraid that Daji would be devoured by this energy. Wei Chong is actually so heavy-handed towards a little sister. As expected, he is so perverted. Daji snorted coldly as she pushed her hands forward. The Do Chi that was on her body was instantly absorbed into her hands, and a white halo appeared on her pair of tender hands. Then she shouted out, "Tortoise!" Pai! Everyone looked at Daji blankly. "You are actually learning from Wei Chong. This isn't a good thing. Bring out your real skills." Wei Chong was a bit surprised. "This Daji is actually learning from me. This is a bit interesting." Ki! Gong! Bo! Daji could be seen pushing her hands forward, and a white energy ball shot out from her hands. The black and white energy ball collided with each other, and Do Fusher had a feeling that if these two energy balls were to collide with each other, half of Wuxia Empire would definitely be gone. At this moment, Lai Gu naturally had to protect his honor by sealing off his honor's sleeping quarters. This way, even if the two of them were to fight against each other, it wouldn't matter. Boom! The two Kamehameha clashed with each other, just like two balls of black and white flour that were trying to collide with each other. This scene is pretty similar to the one in the manga. LV Liang said lightly. "That's right, it's pretty similar." Yi Hong expressed that the scene was already very similar. This Wei Chong is indeed Demon King Piccolo. Endless amounts of Do Chi were released from the two's hands, and the huge amount of light seemed to have illuminated the entire world. As long as one knows how to cultivate, one would be able to sense that huge amount of power. Is this a phenomenon that descended from the heavens? Right now, Wei Chong and Daji were relying on their Do Chi. There weren't any techniques involved in this, and this was completely dependent on their cultivation. Gradually, the black energy wave seemed to be about to devour the white energy wave. Chapter 947. The subordinates who were standing at the side watched very seriously. Uncle Wei's expression was very calm, while Daji's face seemed to be covered in sweat. From this, it could be seen that Daji's strength was weaker than Wei Chong. But to be able to fight against Wei Chong for so long, Daji was still honorable even though she lost. After all, in the entire team, Wei Chang's strength was one of the best. Even now, Wei Chong had not used his original body, but Daji didn't seem to have used her original body either. Daji felt Wei Chang's strength and was a little surprised. Master subordinates are indeed powerful. But I am not someone to be trifled with. Daji shouted out, and a majestic chi surged out from her body. The white energy actually became much wider, pushing Wei Chang's black sphere back a little. Everyone gasped. This Daji actually had plans to hide her strength. As expected, she is terrifying. Who did she learn this from? Wei Chong laughed lightly. Daji, we serve the same person. I have no ill intentions. That won't do. Daji was very stubborn. No one is allowed to disturb his honor's rest. Not even me. Wei Chong sighed lightly. There's no other way. The muscles on Wei Chang's body swelled up a bit, and the black light became even stronger, actually becoming one size bigger. This caused Daji's heart to sink. This is already my limit, but as for the other party, whether or not he is also his limit, I have no idea. But even if I don't know, I can be sure that he is indeed stronger than me. Daji, the victor has been decided. Go and report to his honor. Wei Chong said solemnly. No. Everyone. This Daji is truly adorable, and she is also very loyal and devoted to his honor. Although Daji is going to lose, this loyalty of hers has obtained everyone's affirmation, because there is nothing more important than loyalty. For his honor to be able to obtain such a servant, It is also a kind of fortune. Wei Chong had no other way. Could it be that he really injured Daji? She might be his honor's wife in the future. Thus, Wei Chong swung his hands, and the black light moved at a strange angle to avoid Daji. Even if he dodged it, the shockwave still sent Daji flying. Her back smashed onto the barrier, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. However, Wei Chong controlled the black light and smashed it towards the barrier set by Daji, seemingly wanting to use this method to wake his honor up. No! Daji shouted. Her delicate body turned into a ray of light, intending to use her body to block. This moment happened too quickly. Even Wei Chong couldn't stop himself. If they collided, Daji would have to lie in bed and recuperate for a few months. Her life might even be in danger. All the subordinates' mouths were slightly wide open. This is going to be a disaster. However, Wuxia Empire was not only his honor's painstaking effort, it was also everyone's painstaking effort. I definitely don't wish to see Wuxia Empire fall just like that. Daji opened up her arms and prepared to receive Master with her embrace. In any case, I just can't disturb Master's rest. You bad fellows. Daji closed her beautiful eyes, waiting to be blown away. Suddenly, Daji felt a hand wrap around her waist. The hand was big and warm. He even felt that he was lying in someone's embrace, and he didn't have to worry about anything in this embrace. It was so comfortable. It was just like lying in his mother's embrace. Daji could not help but look up. This was an enchanting face that could charm him to death. Even if he died now, it would be worth it. This is Master. Master's chin is so handsome. That's right. Yihua finally came out. Just now, when Daji collided into the barrier, Yihua felt it. When he came out and saw that Daji was seeking death, he fainted. This Daji sure is scary when she's stubborn. Yihua stretched out his palm and slapped towards that terrifying black light. That black light was like a volleyball, and after being slapped by Yihua, it disappeared. When everyone saw that his honor had appeared, they went into a daze for a moment. Soon after, all of them knelt onto the ground and shouted, "Subordinates pay respect to his honor." Right now, Yihua was still wearing his white pajamas. His arms were wrapped around Daji's body as he thought to himself, "This Daji's figure is not bad, her chest muscles are quite firm." Daji's face and ears were red as she leaned into Yihua's embrace, just like a little girlfriend. Yihua lightly let go of Daji and said faintly, "Don't be so foolish in the future." Daji, who was let go of, immediately felt empty and lonely. "Master, Daji understands." Daji said, feeling wronged. "Everything that I am doing is for Master's sake." Yihua stretched out his hand and patted Daji's head. However, with just a pat, Daji's so-called feeling of being wronged immediately disappeared, and Daji's face was filled with joy. Yihua turned his head and looked towards his subordinates, revealing out a death stare. The latter's head shrunk back. I had just taught them a lesson twice, and when I was sleeping comfortably, I was woken up. Don't you know that I have a temper when I get up? If you don't have a good reason, I will make all of you break up. The subordinates were completely speechless. This threat is too formidable. However, Your Honor, back then, you were the one who pulled the matchmaker. We were just listening to your words. Your Honor, something big happened. Luo Ho lowered his head and shouted out with a guilty look on his face. Yihua let out a light sigh. Something big happened again. How can you all have so many big things in your hearts? Tell me, what big thing is it? Luo Ho hurriedly told Yihua everything that happened, and the more Yihua heard, the worse his expression became. There are always unruly people who want to cause trouble. Yihua shouted out. I gave you all a comfortable and safe environment, but you all actually don't know how to be grateful. You all even came to threaten me. Not bad. Awesome. Do you all really think that I don't kill people? To think that you all would dare to provoke my territory. Your Honor, what should we do? Wei Chong asked gravely. This time, we must definitely show them our strength. If not, they will think that Wuxia Empire is easy to bully. Wait for me to change my clothes. Yes. All of the subordinates had an excited look on their faces. His honor has finally become tough. Previously, he had been saying that he would use a gentle policy and reduce the amount of killing. In the end, everyone thought that we are soft persimmons and tried to bully us. Thus, we must use blood to prove that Wuxia Empire cannot afford to offend anyone. Yi Hua walked into the room, and Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji were currently hugging each other with a pitiful look on their faces. Looking at their expressions, Yi Hua seemed to be smiling. I don't want to. Then, I would be saying, come on my boy, these women, they just don't mean what they say, but their bodies are still honest. Under Daji's service, Yi Hua changed into the emperor's robe, then walked out of the bedroom with a dignified look on his face. Wei Chong, Lai Gu, follow me. As for the rest, go and arrange for the execution platform. I want to see just how many heads are going to fall onto the ground today. Yi Hua said coldly. Hearing such a thing, Yi Hua was unable to endure it anymore. These humans are too arrogant. They are simply not putting me in their eyes at all. Seems like you all still haven't figured out one thing. Chapter 948. In this Wuxia Empire, I am the heavens. You want to fight against the heavens? That's just digging your own grave. It seems that my benevolence made you think that I am easy to bully? Look at how obedient Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji are right now. After scolding me for being trash so many times, you should know how powerful my revenge is right now, right? Both Wei Chong and Lai Gu, who were following behind Yi Hua, could smell the smell of blood. This feeling was really good. He really missed the good times of the past. The air was filled with fresh blood, as if it was filled with a burning fragrance. It was really intoxicating, and he was unable to extricate himself. At this moment, the person sitting quietly in front of the palace gate did not know what was going to happen. He still had an overbearing expression, as if he was the kind of person who did not fear power. His expression was on point and his aura was not bad, but he only dared to sit quietly. However, they knew that the emperor would definitely not kill anyone, because the emperor was carrying out a policy of conciliation. He had been sitting there for a few days, but the emperor had yet to appear. He must be panicking. This voidless empire was very powerful, but this emperor did not have any opinions of his own and was not decisive in killing. If other countries were to encounter such a thing, they would have long since arrested the culprit and beheaded the culprit. But over here, there is no need to be afraid at all. There were still tens of thousands of people marching. He didn't believe that the emperor would dare to kill them all. If he really dared to kill him, he would be crowned as a bloodthirsty tyrant. Just as these people were in deep thoughts, the palace gate let out a muffled sound. Creaking sounds could be heard. A slender figure appeared first. The emperor had come out. No one had expected that the emperor would choose to appear at this time. What did that mean? Feeling the majesty of the imperial power, everyone lowered their heads slightly. Yi Hua looked at the spacious public square in front of him, and there were several hundred people sitting there quietly. There was even a banner on the public square, saying that the banner was incompetent and actually allowed the supporters to stay in the empire. Looking at those banners, Yi Hua was angered to the point that he nearly burned all of them to death. I, the Supreme Overlord, will be able to let whoever I want to come in and stay with me. None of your business. I provide you with food, drinks and entertainment, and even protect your safety, yet you still don't know how to behave and ask for more. Let me ask you all, what are you all sitting here for? Yi Hua asked faintly with his hands behind his back. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Only when the emperor walked out did they know fear. What was the imperial prestige? This empress is asking you a question. Yi Hua's tone couldn't help but become a bit heavier. Everyone felt as if their hearts were going to explode, and they were completely unable to speak. At this moment, a person who seemed to be the leader of the group stood up and even puffed out his chest. I think that what Voidless Empire needs is an upright emperor, and not an emperor who tacitly allows the existence of supporters. As soon as he said this, everyone's expression changed. If they were to die, it would all be because of this man. Yi Hua slightly narrowed his eyes, then said faintly, "Capture them all." Yes. Wei Chong waved his hand, and countless black-armored warriors immediately rushed out from the palace. The plaza in front of the palace gate was immediately filled with wailing, and some people even started to curse. Tyrant! A fatuous ruler! Voidless Empire will be destroyed in your hands no matter what. Trash Emperor, you don't deserve to be. Yi Hua was angered to the point of laughing. He turned his head around and looked at those people. You all might not know this, but in this world, the only one who is capable of destroying Wuxia Empire is me. After finished speaking, Yi Hua brought Wei Chong and Lai Gu along and continued walking. Meanwhile, those few hundred sitters were escorted to the guillotine. The guillotine was naturally set up by Yi Hua, and it was very big, to the point that it was the size of a few football fields. Back then, when Yi Hua designed the guillotine, he planned to use it as a deterrent, so the bigger the better. I never expected that I would have to use it in just a few months. Humans aren't used to peaceful days, and they always want to stir up trouble and even want to snatch my empire. Just where did you all get your courage from? I am rather curious. Are there people causing mischief in the underworld? Let's not care about those first. In Voidless Empire's East City, this place belonged to the wealthy district, and it was the place where the celebrities lived. Every time, the parade would pass by this place and shout slogans. The content of the slogans was naturally saying that the imperial power was protecting those supporters, and that many of the children of the opposition were locked up and had yet to be released. The son of the richest man in the country was even beaten to death on the spot. This kind of evil deed should be punished by the heavens, and the emperor must give an explanation. Yi Hua walked onto the main street of Voidless Empire, and when everyone saw Yi Hua, they all lightly kneeled down to welcome him. This seems to be the first time I've seen the emperor walking on the main street. Looking at the emperor's expression, the emperor doesn't seem to be very good. Thinking back to the things that happened during the past few days, I felt relieved. Seems like the emperor is starting to worry too. Yi Hua enjoyed this way of welcoming the emperor. This means that being an emperor is still somewhat useful. If not, I feel like being an emperor is nothing more than this. Gradually, Yi Hua caught up to the parade. When he heard the words that the parade was shouting, Yi Hua's expression didn't look very good. What a bunch of unruly people. Furthermore, the number of people in the parade is not small. There are over 10,000 people in the parade. Seems like only the guillotine that flows with blood will be able to teach them a lesson. Towards the emperor's sudden appearance, the people in the parade didn't seem to take it to heart. All of them pretended not to see the emperor and continued shouting. Yi Hua felt that these people were not bad. They are all youngsters with a very bright future. They have courage and spirit. I hope that the guillotine will continue to be so unyielding. Capture them all. Yes. Wei Chong accepted the order respectfully. Countless black-armored soldiers appeared in the surroundings and surrounded the parade of 10,000 people. The entire scene was filled with an austere aura. Yi Hua slowly walked to the front of the parade. Everyone was looking at what this emperor was going to do. The atmosphere at the scene was frozen to the extreme. Just what is going to happen? Bring them away. Wei Chong shouted out coldly. This was a 10,000-man team, not a 100-man team. If these people were too strong, there would still be people who would resist. Where are you bringing us to? What law did we break? Some of the people in the parade began shouting out and resisting with their lives. In any case, these people don't dare to kill people. Lai Gu shouted out coldly. What crime did you all commit? Don't you all have any idea in your hearts? Unclear. Your Majesty, please explain. Your Majesty, just what crime did we commit? That's right, Your Majesty. You cannot randomly capture people. Yi Hua looked at the people in front of him who didn't care about their lives and said in a low voice, I, the Emperor, will give all of you a crime of death. The reason is, your time of death has arrived. The scene became silent. The reason for committing a crime is actually because your time of death has arrived? Can this be any more unreasonable than this? Could it be that this emperor has gone mad? To actually want to kill so many people? Could it be that he isn't afraid of the wrath of the heavens? Lai Gu feels that his honor is domineering. Chapter 949. Omega, 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 choking with sobs. Novel. It has been a very long time since His Honor acted like this. In the past, His Honor had always been this unreasonable. Just because of a single word of disagreement, His Honor would immediately start killing, and he would never give you a chance to explain, just like right now. I don't care what kind of reason you all have, as long as His Honor is happy, I will kill you all. His Honor has even found a reason to kill you all. It was time to die. Are you unable to refute? Are you feeling very uncomfortable? So uncomfortable. At this moment, Wei Chong also felt that His Honor is starting to be a bit unreasonable. When His Honor starts to be unreasonable, he will start to kill. Anyone who was a member of the 7 deadly sins would know this. I'm afraid that these people have truly angered His Honor. After all, His Honor's temper is much better now, and his human nature has been greatly satisfied. But no matter what, there must be a bloodthirsty feast. I can't accept this. What kind of emperor are you? You don't have the authority to do this. Wei Chong slowly raised his hand and waved it lightly. A black armored warrior moved like a gust of wind. Hazari! With a flash of saber light, a head flew into the sky and then fell to the ground. Everyone shivered at this moment. This was the emperor. Murder! Everyone found it hard to believe that the emperor had really killed someone. Didn't someone say that he wouldn't kill people? Why did they start killing now? Who the hell said that? Yihua expressed that it wasn't me who was killing people just now, it was Wei Chong. Wei Chong also expressed that it wasn't him who was killing people just now, it was the black armored warrior who was killing people. Each of them was pushing the blame harder than the last. Heartless emperor. There was no justice in this world. Is there still any law? Yeah, there's no justice at all, and there's no law or system. Yihua laughed lightly. I, the emperor, am the heavenly justice, and I, the emperor, am the law and the system. All those who dare to threaten me, the emperor, will not be able to do anything to me. This is a capital crime. Take him away. Those who did not leave, kill. Wei Chong shouted coldly. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless black-armored warriors drew their swords. At this moment, everyone was frightened. Because it was for real. Everyone did not even dare to breathe heavily, fearing that they would be killed. However, there were always a few who were not afraid of death, and they made a ruckus in the team. Hazer here. With a gust of wind, a head fell to the ground. I'm just so flirtatious, aren't I? Yihua looked at everyone and said gravely, everyone who participated in this event, kill without mercy. No nights for the next 3 days. The day after tomorrow, you will be executed on the guillotine. After finished speaking, Yihua disappeared from where he was, but that decisive and murderous voice was still floating in the air, causing one to tremble with fear. Everyone who participated in this event? What kind of event was this? So many people had to be killed. But no matter what, the emperor really dared to kill. Who was the one who said that the emperor didn't dare to kill? Which idiot said that? Hurry up and come out to die. In the next 3 days, the voidless empire was enveloped by an aura of death. Many people came to look at the guillotine because something terrifying was about to happen there. I heard that this time, even the richest man was arrested. So were the officials. As long as they were involved, they were all arrested. He did not even show any mercy. This made everyone feel that the emperor was more powerful than they had imagined. This kind of method was simply cruel to the extreme. Right now, no one dared to say that Yihua was a tyrant, because no one dared to say that. Whoever said that would die. Who dares? Why don't you try? 3 days passed by very quickly. Today, it was raining continuously. The weather wasn't very good, and it was giving off an aura of death. There was even snow in the rain, and the cold air assaulted everyone's nostrils. Yihua was currently being helped by Daji to wear the emperor's robe. As for Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji, they were still being punished by Yihua. Daji. Master. Give the madam some nourishment. And Daji understands. Yihua nodded his head, then disappeared from where he was. Right now, inside the guillotine. It was completely silent. The only thing that could be heard was the sound of rain falling. This wasn't caused by no one sitting on the guillotine, rather, it was because the guillotine was filled with people. A total of 100,000 seats were all filled up. Everyone didn't dare to breathe as they slightly raised their heads and looked at the sky. Black clouds were floating in the sky, and one could even feel that the clouds were suffused with a red glow and a bloodthirsty aura. At the center of the guillotine, there was a square-shaped space. The rainwater had drenched the space, but it didn't matter, because in a while, this place was going to be filled with blood. Furthermore, there were yellow armored warriors standing in the surroundings, and beside the highest throne, there were a few people standing. These people represented the strength of the entire voidless empire. However, the emperor had yet to arrive. Boom! A clap of thunder exploded in the sky, causing everyone's heart to tremble. This clap of thunder is so terrifying, to the point that I'm about to pee in my pants. However, at this moment, a golden figure floated in the center. The royal robe he was wearing was so noble, the back of his imposing figure was so tall, and the handsome face was so shocking. This was a super-perfect man. Voidless Empire's emperor. Yihua. Long live the emperor. Long live the emperor. Long live the emperor. 100,000 people kneeled down and shouted. This voice pierced through the clouds, and it was imposing and majestic. Yihua raised his head lightly, and everyone felt that they were being lifted up by a force. The emperor is indeed formidable. With just this move alone, I'm afraid that the emperor has the strength of an overlord. Yihua swept his gaze across the entire place, and the power of an emperor instantly spread out as he said gravely, "Do you all know what day it is today?" Execution Day. The 100,000 people seemed to be matching lines as they shouted out in unison. Yihua silently nodded his head. "Do you all know why they are being executed?" "Their time of death has arrived." Yihua. I was just saying it casually, and you all really think that your time of death has arrived? Am I that unreasonable? Therefore, you all are still short-sighted and are unable to see through the deeper meaning behind my words. I am going to turn Voidless Empire into heaven on earth. However, I am still a little arrogant. To actually want to change the dynasty, you all say, "What should I do?" Kill. 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 3 consecutive shouts of "kill" immediately caused everyone's blood to boil, and their faces were filled with excitement. Looking at Yihua's expression, one could tell that it was that kind of brainless worship. Yihua silently nodded his head and returned to the throne. Yihua then sat down on the throne. "Let's begin." "Yes." Wei Chong replied respectfully, then shouted out loudly, "Execution Day. Begin." Woohoo! Dong dong dong. A series of knocking sounds suddenly rang out, and countless prisoners began to be brought out in an orderly manner. Behind every single prisoner was a soldier, and the prisoners had no way of escaping at all. "Fatuous Emperor. You will die a horrible death. The heavens will punish you. Damned Emperor, even if I die, I will curse you. I am going to bring out the highest level of curse. Curse your entire family." As these people cursed out, they were pressed down by the yellow armored soldiers beside them. Everyone knew what they were waiting for. What they were waiting for was to be beheaded. "Tyrant! I can't accept this. My son is only being imprisoned, why does he have to be executed as well?" Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. Yen. Chapter 950. Dad, we're not asking for it. Isn't it just death? Muddle-headed ruler will die a horrible death. That's right, among these people, there were old and young. Anyway, as long as they were involved, they would all be arrested. Even the young people in the cages were the same. This time, Yihua was truly angered. This had completely touched Yihua's bottom line. These people are too arrogant. They are simply arrogant without any bottom line. If not, Yihua's anger wouldn't be so big. Look at all these clamoring noises right now. I'm afraid that you guys don't know this, but it's because of the Supreme Overlord's benevolence that you guys have the chance to stay here and enjoy the benefits of Voidless Empire. But now, you guys actually dare to go against this Supreme Overlord's words, and you don't even have a single bit of gratitude in your hearts. What was the point of keeping such a person alive? Just kill him. Gradually, everyone was brought out. The entire venue was filled with people. All of them were kneeling on the ground, but the sound of cursing kept ringing out. Right at this moment, heavy rain started pouring down from the sky, and the sound of rustling could be heard, adding a bit of music to this heavy atmosphere. The cold rain fell on the field, and his hair was soon drenched, making him look like a mess. However, when the rainwater landed on the armor of the yellow-armored warriors, it made a crisp sound that sent chills down one's spine. At least let them know that there was a butcher standing behind them, and they would be beheaded later. His head would roll to the ground. This was indescribably tragic. Of course, Hong Batian was also in the crowd. At this moment, he did not have the awe-inspiring aura he had in the past, but his face was filled with unwillingness. "I can't accept this." Hong Batian shouted out furiously. He had created so much value for the Voidless Empire, and now his son had died. He had yet to settle this debt, and now he actually wanted to kill even his father. This was simply too vicious. He had never seen such a vicious person. Such a person should go to hell and be fried. Yihua asked faintly, "Who is this person?" Zishan, who was at the side, said respectfully, "My emperor, this man is the richest man, Hong Batian. He is the one who is fanning the emotions of the people. So it turns out that you are the richest man in the world. You aren't as lofty as I imagined you to be." Yi Hua said faintly, "My Majesty, this Hong Batian is of the dwarf race. He's naturally unable to grow tall." Lai Gu said in a low voice, "His son is rather tall." The moment Lin Fan said that, he felt a little pitiful for this fella. This was simply a tragedy. "What are you not convinced of?" Yi Hua, who was sitting on the throne, asked faintly. His voice wasn't loud, but everyone heard it. Hong Batian shouted loudly, "Everyone, let's be the judge." "I, Hong Batian, have worked diligently to develop the economy of the Voidless Empire, and even the foreign trade was facilitated by me. I have done so many things for the Voidless Empire, and it's fine if you, as the emperor, don't reward us, but you even brought out a groundless crime. How can we be convinced by this? In the future, who will be willing to work for you? You will lose the hearts of the people by doing this, and those who lose the hearts of the people will lose the world." That's right, our Commerce Association has contributed so much to the empire's economy. Now, he was going to kill them just like that. We don't accept this. Without us, would Voidless Empire have the achievements it has today? That's impossible. You killed us today. Even the heavens are watching, and God will punish you for your sins. You have nowhere to go. Along with these words coming out, several tens of thousands of people began talking about their contributions. Voidless Empire cannot do this. This is a disgraceful thing. Yi Hua felt as if he had returned to that time when the North and South were having the martial arts competition. Although the scene back then was smaller than this, the tone of the speech was more or less the same. To actually go and beg those gods, instead of begging me, the Supreme Overlord. Perhaps if I am in a good mood, I will pardon all of you, but my mood will not be good. However, towards what they said, I still have to talk back to them. I understand what you all are saying, and I also know about your contributions. However, don't forget, in this voidless empire, you all can disobey anyone, but I, the Emperor, am not someone that you all can disobey. Do you all really think that I don't kill people? What a joke. When I kill people, I don't even blink my eyes. Everyone was a bit puzzled. This Emperor doesn't even blink his eyes when killing people. How is this possible? Do you all think that just because you all made a bit of contribution, I have to thank you all? Or is it that without you all, my voidless empire wouldn't be able to function? Let me tell you all, this world doesn't lack talents. If you all die, there will be a bunch of people who will replace your positions and serve me. You all are just a thing of the past. Also, other than talking big, what else can you all do? When you all met with enemies outside of the city, did I tell you all to go and die? I have given you all the only wealth that I have. And that is safety. A safety that is as solid as an iron bucket. You all are just a bunch of people who don't know how to repay kindness, and you all even tried to overthrow my empire? What a joke, with just the few of your broken mouths. You all are truly thinking too much. Yi Hua snorted coldly and said a bunch of things. Suddenly, there were people who started clapping. It would be great if there were people who started the rhythm. The clapping became louder and louder, to the point that it filled the entire guillotine. However, the people who were kneeling on the ground were shouting shameless. The reason why you all are able to have such a life is all because of us. And now, you all are actually clapping and asking us to die. You all are just a bunch of unruly commoners. Unruly commoners. However, Hong Batian shouted out again, "From what I see, you are definitely a member of a different race. To actually help a different race to kill a human." Yi Hua's words caused everyone present to quieten down. Towards something like a different race, everyone was vigilant towards it. There was nothing that could be done, because it was already deeply ingrained into everyone's hearts. Yi Hua originally planned to carry out his plan step by step, but right now, he was feeling very unhappy. This is all forced by you all. Different race? Then what are you? Yi Hua suddenly asked back. Everyone's gaze looked towards Hong Batian. I am a human. Hong Batian shouted out. Yi Hua laughed lightly. Is there anyone who is as short as you? In the end, you are also a different race. You are not a human. Nonsense. I am a human. Hong Batian immediately stood up, and the yellow-armored warrior who was behind Hong Batian pressed him down. Yi Hua stood up, then looked at everyone present and said, "What are different races, other than humans? All of the different races are different races. And yet, among these people, there are actually people who want to overthrow my empire. Even the different races don't have such guts. To be honest, I feel that the different races are more reliable than you all. I would rather let the different races live in my empire than let you all, filthy people, shit in my empire." Yi Hua's words could be considered as a kind of foreshadowing. Comparing these bad people with the different races, do I feel that they are all the same? If even bad people like these can live in my empire, why can't the different races live in my empire? Perhaps, the different races are all better than them. However, Yi Hua's words didn't contain any certainty, and he seemed to be making an analogy. Chapter 951. No one refuted what Hong Dali said. Theoretically speaking, Hong Dali was indeed right. You are the spy sent by the outsiders. Everyone, open your eyes and watch closely. Hong Batian still didn't give up. After all, he is the richest man in the country, and his brain is still very good. Even if I know that I am going to die today, I still have to create a bad image for this emperor. Yi Hua naturally understood what Hong Batian liked, because Hong Batian's words would make others feel that Hong Batian is the one who angered me. I am a spy? Then, so what if I allow outsiders to enter the city? What can you do to me? Yi Hua's acting skills started to soar again. It must be said, Yi Hua's acting skills are really good. As expected of the person who won the Best Male Lead award back then. Ha ha ha, did everyone hear that? This fool actually allowed outsiders to enter the city, risking universal condemnation. He is destined to die early. Hong Batian continued to mock Yi Hua. From his perspective, his goal was about to be achieved. Yi Hua felt that his goal was about to be achieved. I admire people like you who aren't afraid of death. Yi Hua appeared to be angered and shouted out angrily. Fine. Then, I will give the decree right now. Starting from tomorrow, outsiders will be allowed to enter the city. Following what Yi Hua said, everyone was dumbstruck. Even though he is angry, we can't take him seriously. Outsiders are the natural enemies of humans. Just like a cat and a mouse, there will never be a day where they can make peace. Right now, everyone started discussing amongst themselves. Yi Hua naturally knew that they wouldn't be able to accept this, thus he continued, In my empire, all of the races in Kangluo continent are welcome, but vile people like you are not welcome. Ha 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 ha, I will be watching the destruction of Wuxia empire from the sky. Trash empire, I pooey, and you trash emperor. Only if I am blind would I come to this damned place. Yi Hua raised his hand, and the yellow armored warrior who was standing behind Hong Batian immediately pulled out his blade. Swoosh! Hong Batian's head immediately rolled onto the ground, and with an expression that was filled with grievance, Hong Batian's short body also laid on the ground. The yellow armored warrior shook off the bloodstain on his blade, then kept his blade and stood obediently at the side. Although he only beheaded one person, no one dared to say anything. Those who were smart could sense something. The emperor is telling everyone that no one can go against his decision, and this is the consequence of going against his decision. Dang! But there were also many people cursing the richest man. It was fine if he died, but he had angered the emperor and forced him to let the outsiders into the city. This damnable fellow was simply framing the emperor, and the emperor had actually fallen for it. It could only be said that the emperor was too kind, thinking for the sake of the world. However, this kind of method was not right. The outsiders were still the outsiders, and they could not appear in the city. That would cause big trouble. Yi Hua looked at everyone and said, I, the emperor, have given you all the most precious environment to live in, and I hope that you all can cherish it well. As for what I said just now, I do not intend to change it. If anyone is unhappy, you can leave later. Leave. The Voidless Empire was a place like heaven on earth. The system was good and safe, and everyone had food to eat. There wasn't even a single beggar on the streets. Such a situation had never been seen in the Kangluo continent before. How could he leave such a good place? Even if he lived until he was old, he would still have a pension. The most important thing was that it was safe here. How many empires like this were there in the Kangluo continent? To be exact, there was none. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would definitely not leave Voidless Empire. Yi Hua admired these people who had tacitly agreed to it. Kangluo continent didn't have a history of humans and outsiders living together.
as long as they were allowed to live together in the end, they would discover that the outsiders were also a very simple race, and it was completely different from what they had imagined.
By then, Voidless Empire would be the first country that allowed outsiders to live in. What a great moment it would be, and it would be written in the history of the Kangluo continent. I, the Supreme Overlord, would also be a wise ruler of a generation, and I would be praised by the future generations. Thinking about it, it is quite interesting. Seeing that the head of the richest man had been chopped off, everyone began to stop cursing and began to pray to the gods, begging them to kill this man and return peace to the world. Yi Hua looked at these idiots, and they actually began to pray to the gods again. Can you all pray to the gods to open your eyes and let me eat *T? However, right when Yi Hua finished thinking about it, the gods have opened their eyes. Layers of dark clouds could be seen quickly disappearing as if they were being pulled by someone. Very quickly, the sunlight shone onto the ground, and the temperature rose. I was just joking. Don't take it seriously. What? You said that I, the Supreme Overlord, don't keep my words. That is because I, the Supreme Overlord, have the strength to do so. Just like how rich people like to say that they are not interested in money. Speaking nonsense with a straight face. I, the Supreme Overlord, am like this too. However, this god's opening their eyes sure is interesting. Yi Hua asked curiously, Zishan, is this part of the plot that you arranged? Zishan shook her head. How could I possibly arrange such a plot? Last time, I arranged it according to your honor's request, and this time, your honor didn't arrange it at all. As a subordinate, how could I possibly mess around? It wasn't arranged by you? Yi Hua was a bit surprised. To think that it wasn't arranged by Zishan, things are going to be a bit interesting this time. Just who exactly is it? I am truly a bit curious. Such a pleasant surprise makes me a bit happy and a bit joyful. I, the Supreme Overlord, love surprises like this. Everyone looked towards the auspicious clouds in the sky. The auspicious clouds carried a sense of holiness and justice, and it seemed as if all evil would die under the auspicious clouds. Everyone had no choice but to kneel down and welcome the auspicious clouds. A lot of people unconsciously kneeled down and welcomed the auspicious clouds that were about to arrive. To these death row prisoners, the auspicious clouds were the hope that could save their lives. The heavens didn't abandon us and still sent the auspicious clouds over. For these people who were about to die, a ray of hope suddenly appeared in their eyes. How could they not be excited? Their desire to live was immediately ignited. This is the effect that Yi Hua wanted. You all thought that your despair has already dispersed and that the dawn of hope has arrived, but in actuality, it is completely useless. This kind of dawn of hope is just a flash in the pan, and despair will accompany you for your entire life. Boom! A loud sound rang out from the clear blue sky, and soon after, a ray of rainbow light descended from the sky. Zishan, this seems to be different from the way you appeared. Yi Hua asked curiously. Zishan's gaze was filled with caution as she said respectfully, Your Honor, this is the ray of rainbow light. Only the big figures in Seoul City would receive this kind of treatment. Back then, when Zishan descended from the sky, she was only a ray of golden light, and she seemed very ordinary. However, look at what Zishan is doing now. She is simply too flashy. All these useless things are simply too dazzling. On the other hand, Yi Hua felt that Zishan's pretentiousness is not bad. She should be someone who walks the same path as me, someone who likes to act cool. However, he was a little bored, so he came down to see what was going on. At the same time, he wanted to raise his status. As expected. Along with me descending, those people were all stupefied. However, it was only for a moment, and soon after, the expressions in those people's eyes began to change. From admiration to astonishment, or from hope to despair. Did you see a ghost? I, Yi Juetian, am a man with both looks and looks. Hurry up and retract your gazes. I, Yi Juetian, do not need to be like this. Alright, since you guys think like this, then just reveal it. I, Yi Juetian, will accept it all. This charm of mine that has no place to hide will cause a commotion wherever I go. However, the one behind me seems to be the main character, right? You guys should just admire the broad shoulders of I, Yi Juetian. This kind of loftiness is not something you guys can achieve. But then again, this was an execution, and there were quite a few of them. It was savage enough. I, Yi Juetian, like you, Then let me, Yi Juetian, see just what kind of person is so cruel. See if he is even half as handsome as me, Yi Juetian. If there is 20%, I will just casually kill a few of you today. If there is 50%, I will just casually kill a few of you today and leave your corpse intact. This idea is not bad. I, Yi Juetian, am still too benevolent. This damned benevolence of mine. I should have gotten rid of it long ago. Yi Juetian could be seen slowly turning around. Yi Hua also looked at this flamboyant man who turned around. If you scare me, I will immediately insta-kill you. However, when Yi Hua saw Yi Juetian, it was as if he had seen a ghost. Not only was Yi Hua frightened, all of his subordinates were frightened as well. Yi Juetian was the same as well. It was as if he had seen a ghost. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. Everyone did not dare to believe everything that was happening before their eyes. Because Yi Hua and Yi Juetian looked too similar.
It was as if they were carved out from the same mold, except for one thing.
And that was the difference in their expressions. Yi Hua's face was filled with coldness, while Yi Juetian's face was filled with a coquettish aura. That's right. Other than their expressions, the two of them were practically exactly the same. All of Yi Hua's subordinates were a bit unable to use their brains. Who is this person? Could it be that he is his honor's long-lost brother? How is this possible? I have followed his honor for 1,000 years, and his honor is an undead, so how could he possibly have a brother? This is too nonsensical. This is completely impossible to believe. Yi Hua was indeed shocked right now. This person looks exactly the same as me. This is truly like seeing a ghost. Yi Juetian's mind was in a bit of a mess. This person. Why does he look so much like my big brother?
That coldness in between his brows, that coolness in his eyes, that coolness in his eyes. He is simply exactly the same as me.
This is impossible. Big brother had already gone missing 1,000 years ago, and furthermore, he had gone missing during a great battle. A lot of people had seen that big brother had fallen. It is impossible for him to still be alive. Then who is this person? Yi Juetian rubbed his eyes, then slapped onto his cheeks, then pinched onto his waist. It was so painful that his eyes rolled back. Yi Hua discovered that this was the truth. Big brother. Big brother? Yi Hua was confused. This fellow recognized me as his big brother right away. I, the Supreme Overlord, am not like Lai Gu who taught you how to comb your hair. The group of subordinates at the back felt that this fellow was a swindler. After realizing that he couldn't win, he casually recognized me as his big brother. Simply shameless. I thought that this fellow was someone important, but in the end, I didn't expect that. When everyone heard what Yi Hua said, they were a bit stupefied. A deity actually called the emperor Big Brother? F***K. What is this situation? With a deity as your backing, wouldn't you, the emperor, be able to do whatever you want? The 10,000 death row inmates that were kneeling on the ground were in despair. After inviting for so long, we actually managed to invite a little brother. How are we supposed to endure this? Why did such a person appear? Can we do it again?
You, this little brother, go up first. We will summon him again.
Big brother, is it really you? Yi Juetian's voice carried a trace of nervousness, and even his hands were trembling. Yi Hua's brows tightly wrinkled. He didn't feel that this was a good situation. However, the subordinates discovered that this man's expression seemed as if he had really seen his big brother. Look at that extremely shocked expression of his. If this is an act, isn't this too real? Chapter 953. Yi Juetian was very excited. He was even more surprised than if he had seen a ghost. She walked towards Yi Hua step by step, and she looked as if she was looking at her long-lost wife. When the group of subordinates saw Yi Juetian's appearance, they all revealed vigilance. It seemed like as long as this guy dared to take another step forward, they would send him back the way he came. Don't think that just because you call me Big Brother, his honor will teach you how to comb your hair. Yi Juetian sensed the vigilance of these people and stopped in his tracks. This is my big brother. Yi Juetian hurriedly explained. One shouldn't fight one's own people. However, the entire guillotine was watching the reunion. Now the script was very clear. This god that descended from the sky should be the emperor's little brother. However, the big brother didn't know the little brother. From this it could be seen that things should be very melodramatic. This big brother was supposed to be a god, but for some reason, he came down. However, His family thought that he was dead.
However, by chance, the younger brother descended from the sky and discovered that the elder brother was still alive.
That should be it. In that case, Wuxia Empire would have the backing of a god. That would be extremely awesome. Who in the Kangluo continent would dare to offend them? Yihua needs someone to be his backing, and I am his strongest backing. For the prisoners who knelt down, their faces were ashen. No one could save them today. Lai Gu berated angrily, "Who is your big brother? Don't think that just because you look like me, you can casually call me big brother." Zishan also followed up and said, "That's right, who knows whether or not you are a spy, and are pretending to be one of us." "I'm really not a spy. Look at my face. Isn't it a slap?" After saying that, Yi Juetian started to slap his own face. In order to prove his innocence, he was simply slapping his own face. What a savage man. He was about to slap his own butt. Yihua was a little stupefied. This fellow doesn't seem to be joking. His subordinates also felt the same way. Yi Juetian looked at Yihua and said agitatedly, "Big brother, little Tian, we are born from the same mother, you are my blood-related big brother." Yihua found it hard to believe, and his gaze revealed a rarely seen look of surprise. "I can't figure out if this person is real or fake. If it was a fake, he could just kill it. But what if it was true?" In the past, Yihua had also thought about one thing. How did an undead become an undead? Since they had skeletons, that meant that they had corporeal bodies in the past. So before, he was a human, a living human, but everyone had forgotten that it was useless to use a powerful cultivation technique. This was something that couldn't be helped. There were some things that the heavenly Tao could not change. Yi Juetian also could not believe it. He had casually come down and actually met his big brother. His luck was too good. His eldest brother was the pride of the Yi family back in the day, and he was a famous existence in the whole of Spirit City. The Yi family was also a huge family in Spirit City, and he was the sixth brother. He had come out 20 years later than his eldest brother. It could be said that he grew up watching his big brother's stalwart figure, and he was inspired to become a man like his big brother since he was young. He was such a pretentious man, but he couldn't learn it no matter how hard he tried. Big brother's pretentiousness was like a passive skill hidden in his blood. All the ladies in spiritual capital wanted to marry her big brother no matter what. Although she looked exactly like her big brother, they were worlds apart. However, if a person was too outstanding, they would be envied. The brothers in the Yi family were not united. His father's generation was like this, and his generation was also like this. Back then, his big brother led an army to fight against Demonic City, but he never returned. His big brother's army was wiped out, and in the end, someone ran back and said that his big brother was dead. The Yi family's big brother was dead. This shook the whole Spirit City, and even the whole Spirit City was filled with promissory notes. Countless young ladies' hearts were shattered, and it was even said that some young ladies committed suicide. Even his mother fell sick, and even after 1,000 years, she could not accept her son's death. Yi Juetian also did not believe it. His big brother was like a god of war, and he won every battle. When he returned home with glory, the first thing he did was to find his mother and tell her that he had returned safely. His big brother was a filial son, a good brother, and also a good husband. However, it was a pity that the incomparably beautiful sister-in-law had just married his big brother, and before they could consummate their marriage, his big brother had gone to war and never returned. Just like that, his sister-in-law became a widow for 1,000 years. If she knew that his big brother was not dead, she would definitely faint from crying. After all, his big brother and sister-in-law were childhood friends, and their relationship was quite deep. At that time, they were not married yet, and every time his big brother went to war, his sister-in-law would kneel in the temple and pray to the heavens. She would kneel until his big brother returned, and no one could stop her. And every time his big brother returned, he would go to see his sister-in-law after meeting his mother. His sister-in-law also used this method to open up his big brother's cold heart. Even though it had been 1,000 years, he still remembered how happy his sister-in-law had been that day. She had finally married his big brother, and it had not been easy. One had to know that his sister-in-law had chased after his big brother for 1,000 years, and even if his big brother's heart was made of stone, it should have melted. Luckily, it still melted in the end, and his sister-in-law had finally married the person she liked. His big brother was envied and jealous again. After all, a woman like his sister-in-law was really rare, and even the other brothers of the Yi family would go crazy from jealousy. His sister-in-law was praised as the most beautiful woman in Spirit City, and there was no one who could compare. However, it was this woman who chased after his big brother for 1,000 years, and even the emperor was jealous, but there was nothing he could do about it. Who asked his big brother to be so useful? Big brother was always the one who went to war and killed the enemies. Big brother was always the one who charged to the forefront. There was another time when his big brother came back injured, and his entire arm was dripping with blood. That was the first time he saw his sister-in-law getting angry. She scolded his big brother and then applied medicine for his big brother while crying, and then ignored his big brother for an entire month. But then, his big brother went to war again, and his sister-in-law went to the temple to pray. Women, I really can't understand them. But to this day, his sister-in-law was still praying to the heavens in the temple. 1,000 years was like a day, and she had never given up even for a day. This kind of infatuation was finally repaid today. His sister-in-law's prayers were repaid. His big brother was really still alive, and he was standing right in front of him. He was exactly the same as back then, and there was no change at all. That cold gaze, that expressionless face. It was just that his hairstyle had changed, but he still looked as handsome as before. If I were to tell his sister-in-law about today's news, my God, I wonder how she would react. His sister-in-law is so pitiful. The heavens have blessed me. Back then, Yi Hua was an undead, but why was he stronger than other undead when he cultivated? In the end, it was still his own advantage. Back then, Yi Hua was a powerful overlord. Chapter 954. Furthermore, he was the youngest overlord. Who wouldn't be envious? Especially those brothers at home right now. Yi Juetian was still suspecting if it was done by second brother and third brother. In any case, anyone could have done it, even the emperor could have done it. After all, back then, Big Brother's contributions surpassed the emperor's. If Big Brother was given time, it was even possible for him to become an overlord in the future. Right now, Yi Hua was a bit confused. He didn't know if this fellow was real at all, but his appearance was right there. Could it be that the other two subordinates were doing this? Just like Juetian back then, creating a fake to comfort me? But to create such a coquettish one? Suddenly Yi Hua thought of a method. If what this fellow said was true, there should be a reaction from his bloodline. Yi Hua slowly stretched out his finger, and a drop of blood could be seen flowing out from Yi Juetian's forehead. This caused Yi Juetian to be shocked. I didn't expect Big Brother to become stronger after so many years. I actually didn't sense it at all. But looking at Big Brother, he seemed to want to confirm. Why did Big Brother lose his memories? Just what happened back then? A drop of blood could be seen flowing out from Yi Hua's forehead. The two drops of blood gradually moved closer to each other, and both of them emitted an astonishing aura. From this, it could be seen that Yi Juetian's strength was not to be underestimated. Everyone looked at the two drops of blood in the air, feeling very nervous. Especially the tens of thousands of people kneeling on the ground. If they fused, they would all die today. If they didn't fuse, they could still be saved. However, the other people were thinking that they must definitely fuse with Voidless Empire. That way, Voidless Empire would have a powerful backing. But to the subordinates, as long as they didn't fuse, they would immediately kill them. They were definitely swindlers. Right now, Yi Hua was also very nervous. If they fused, then what he said would be true. I am still in this world. I still have relatives. To Yi Hua, relatives were things that he didn't dare to hope for. Of course, it was in the past. Right now, he had relatives, his loved ones, his children, and a group of loyal subordinates. These were all his relatives. But mother. This was the reason why Yi Hua was nervous. To be honest, Yi Hua hoped that they didn't fuse. If that was the case, he would be able to kill this swindler. I don't have any mother. I don't have any brothers. I don't want to find out about my background, because that is definitely not a good thing. The two drops of blood gradually moved closer to each other, as if they were sizing each other up. At this moment, everyone's heart became nervous, and Yi Hua was the same as well. Yi Hua basically wouldn't feel nervous at all. Yi Hua was pleasantly surprised to see such an emotion. I feel that this is pretty good. There is actually something that can make me nervous. 2 drops of blood floated out, as if they were intimately caressing each other. Then, they held each other like they were holding hands. Then came a hug. They had fused, turned into a drop of blood. At this moment, the entire world became silent. Yi Hua was also dumbstruck. How is this possible? I actually have a blood brother. And his mother. The subordinates who were standing behind his honor were all stupefied. Is this man really his honor's brother? This is too fake. This isn't a dream, right? The person kneeling on the ground was already pale. However, the others cheered. This was a scene of brothers reuniting with tears. Shouldn't they give each other a big hug now? It was too awesome. Yi Juetian let out a sigh of relief, then looked at Yi Hua with a joyous expression, as if he was saying, "Big brother, now that things have come to this, you should believe me, right?" However, after Yi Hua's astonishment, his expression gradually sunk. He didn't feel happy because of this matter. On the contrary, he felt very unhappy in his heart after knowing the truth. As for why he felt unhappy, Yi Hua didn't know either. Yi Juetian directly landed in front of Yi Hua, and the subordinates didn't stop him. After all, this was his honor's blood brother. When the two of them stood together, other than their hairstyles, it was really hard to recognize them. Of course, there was also their bearing. "Tie him up," Yi Hua said gravely. Yi Juetian was prepared to give Yi Hua a big hug, but in the end, he had a stupefied expression on his face. Did I hear wrongly just now? Even the subordinates felt the same. Tie him up? Did I hear wrongly? I told you all to tie him up, are you deaf? Yi Hua shouted out coldly. Lai Gu and Wei Chang's expressions sunk, and the two of them held on to Yi Juetian from the left and right. Big brother. What are you doing? I am little Tian. You even taught me martial arts in the past. You should think about it again. Yi Juetian hurriedly said. He felt that his big brother was very strange. In the past, Big Brother was just a rock, but right now, Big Brother is just like a rock that has a layer of ice on it, and it is so cold that it makes one shiver. Yi Hua didn't even turn his head around as he said in a low voice. Who are you? I will slowly make you tell me clearly, but right now, I still have important things to do. Everyone was a bit stupefied. Why did the emperor capture his blood brother without saying anything? Just what kind of plot is this? Shouldn't he be giving Yi Hua a big hug right now and celebrating together with the world? This is how things should be done. Right now, Yi Hua's mind still wasn't clear, so he decided to use the heads of these people to clear his mind, or perhaps to think about what he should do next. Brother and mother that suddenly appeared. I am an undead. How could I have any brother and mother? Even if I had, that would be something that happened in my previous life. I have no relationship with that person in my previous life. Big brother, what are you doing? Being held down by Wei Chang and Lai Gu, Yi Juetian didn't have any other choice. Yi Hua said faintly, killing people. Yi Juetian went into a daze for a moment, then suddenly recalled the reason why he came down here. Big brother, you want to kill all of these people? Yes. But, big brother, they are just ordinary people. Why do you want to kill them? Yi Juetian looked at the back view of Yi Hua in disbelief. In the past, Big Brother loved his people, fought for the sake of his people, and even couldn't bear to see his people being bullied. In my heart, Big Brother is a righteous war god who fights for humanity. But today, Big Brother is actually killing people. Is this still the Big Brother that I know? This feeling of disparity caused Yi Juetian to not dare to believe it. Why did Big Brother become so bloodthirsty? Could it be that the people of Shanghai cast a spell on Big Brother? Did the people from Shanghai cast a spell on Big Brother? Yi Hua said faintly, because they made me unhappy. Big Brother, you weren't like this in the past. Yi Juetian shouted out loudly, trying to make Big Brother sober up. In the past? This has nothing to do with me. Don't talk about the past with me. Yi Hua said gravely, then waved his hand. The yellow armored warriors that were at the very front directly took out their blades, raised them high up, then swung them down. A few hundred heads rolled onto the ground, and with boiling hot blood, the scene was extremely shocking. Big Brother, quickly stop. We are deities. Yi Juetian shouted out. Deities have to protect their people, not kill each other. Chapter 955. Omega, 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 choking with sobs. Novel Yi Hua turned his head around and looked towards Yi Juetian, then said faintly, "Deity? Go to hell with your god."
After saying that, he raised his hand again. Another row of heads fell to the ground.
Looking at his big brother's cold gaze, Yi Juetian didn't know what to do. Just what had his big brother experienced over the years to become so savage? If his sister-in-law saw his big brother like this, she would definitely be very disappointed. After all, Big Brother used to be a hero, a great hero. But now, he was an executioner wielding a butcher's knife. With every wave of his hand, hundreds of lives would be lost. Even in Lingdu, such a scene was rarely seen in 100 years. It was a massacre. As the people in the last row lost their heads, the whole place was filled with the smell of blood. Yi Hua slightly closed his eyes, took a deep breath of the fragrance in the air, and his mood became much better. Ignoring his own younger brother, Yi Hua looked at everyone and said, "From today onwards, I hope that the people of Voidless Empire will be able to live a good life and not do things that will make me uncomfortable. If you are not satisfied, you can scram."
Long live the Emperor!
Hooray! Long live! 100,000 people shouted in a pious tone. Anyone who wanted to scram had a deity as their lackey. "Big brother, repent and be saved. Put down your knife." Yi Juetian was completely stupefied by the scene in front of him. If this was a war, it wouldn't be scary. What was scary was that some people who didn't even have the strength to truss a chicken were killed. This was a tyrant-style massacre. Yi Hua looked towards Yi Juetian and said coldly, "If you continue to speak, I will behead you as well. Press them down."
"Yes. Big brother, you weren't like this before, big brother. Big brother."
Even now, Yi Juetian couldn't believe that his big brother had become the person he hated the most in the past. After Yi Juetian was suppressed, Yi Hua didn't hurry to leave.
"Your Honor, about this matter?" Blood Demon asked respectfully.
Yi Hua pondered for a moment, then said, "Let me lock you up for a few days first. I will think about it." After finished speaking, Yi Hua left. After Yi Hua left, all of Yi Hua's subordinates let out a breath of relief. The atmosphere just now was so oppressive. I feel that His Honor is about to take action. His Honor's blood-related younger brother, my God.
Do Fuxia grabbed onto his hair.
"And mother," Elvi Liang said softly.
Tang Wei said in a low voice, "I wonder if His Honor has a wife or not."
"If he has a wife," Yi Hong murmured. Two questions popped up in the minds of the subordinates. It was over. His Honor's family disturbance is coming again. However, right now, Yi Hua wasn't thinking about that at all. The situation had come too suddenly. I still need to calm down for a while. As for how to calm down, of course, it was up to his two wives. He could only trouble them. After a long while, Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji snuggled into Yi Hua's embrace. After being husband and wife for so long, Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji were able to tell that Yi Hua had something on his mind and was absent-minded today.
"What's wrong?"
Qing Ya asked curiously. Yi Hua took a deep breath, then closed his eyes. "I don't know how to say this matter, I still haven't thought about it." Dong Huang Baiji opened her beautiful eyes and lightly kissed onto Yi Hua's cheek. "After you have made up your mind, tell us." Yi Hua hugged onto his wives tightly. With the two of them by his side, his heart felt much more relaxed, and he didn't have to face the things that happened in the past. In the following 3 days, Yi Hua returned to his normal life. Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji let out a breath of relief. This overbearing man is finally willing to let us go. He can finally get off the bed and walk around. However, Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji discovered that Yi Hua was very strange during these 3 days. He wouldn't speak more than 3 sentences during the entire day, and at night, he would only hug Dong Huang Baiji to sleep. It was as if he had changed into another person. This caused Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji to be worried. They went to ask the subordinates, but how would they dare to tell His Honor about it? This concerns His Honor's private matter. Jokes are jokes, but when it comes to serious matters, the subordinates wouldn't act recklessly. Right now, His Honor clearly isn't mentally prepared to face His Honor's matter, and he needs time to get used to it. Right now, Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji were walking inside the imperial palace sneakily, just like a thief. "Will Yi Hua get angry if we do this?" Dong Huang Baiji asked in a low voice. Qing Ya pursed her lips. "Seeing how Yi Hua is so tired and annoyed, my heart aches for him. However, he isn't telling us about it." When Yi Hua thinks it through, he will naturally tell us about it. Although Dong Huang Baiji said this, the curiosity in her heart was no less than Qing Ya's curiosity. Don't you know Yi Hua's temper? This time, he definitely encountered a troublesome matter. After thinking about it for so many days, we have to help Yi Hua. All right then, if he gets angry at most, he won't be able to get off the bed for another month. Dong Huang Baiji had a determined look on her face. In any case, I am very happy. If I don't get off the bed, so be it.
The two wives sneakily came to a corner of the imperial palace and secretly looked towards a place not far away.
Yi Hong and LV Liang could be seen standing in front of an iron gate. The two women knew that this was the place where criminals were locked up. However, in the past, this place was basically just a decoration. These few days, they noticed that LV Liang and the others had started standing here. Presumably, this person was the person that Yi Hua was annoyed about. What should we do? Dong Huang Baiji asked in a low voice. Directly enter? Will they let us in? If they won't let us in, we will use our identity to suppress them. Will that work? If Yi Hua knows, he will still spank us. That fellow is very serious when he hits us. Qing Ya pursed her lips and said, if he dares to spank us, the two of us will cry. Haha, good idea. If we cry, Yi Hua will be reluctant to let us go. The two wives immediately hit it off. After tidying up their makeup, they directly walked over. LV Liang and Yi Hong, who were currently on guard, were startled. Why did your wives come over? Subordinate greets your wives. LV Liang and Yi Hong shouted out in unison. Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji calmly nodded their heads. What are you two doing here? Qing Ya asked faintly. The green and red brothers took a look at each other. LV Liang said, reporting to your wives, we are currently on duty. Oh, on duty? Then, you two are on duty. We will go in and take a look. After finished speaking, Qing Ya prepared to go in. LV Liang and Yi Hong hurriedly stopped Qing Ya. Yi Hong said respectfully, Madam, you cannot go in. Why? Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji were now sure that the problem lies within. This is His Honor's order. LV Liang cupped his hands and said. Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji originally planned to use their identity to suppress them. Thus they said, I am your wives, what about it? You two are even going to stop us from entering this place? LV Liang and Yi Hong were about to collapse. I knew that this job isn't going to be good. Subordinate doesn't dare. Then move aside. Dong Huang Baiji shouted out lightly. Madams, please don't make things difficult for subordinate. Yi Hong felt like crying right now. Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji snorted coldly. We are going in today. If you two dare to stop us, you two should know that His Honor is a jealous king. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. Yen. Chapter 956. Omega 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 choking with sobs.
Novel. The matter of His Honor being the Vinegar King had long been spread out within the group.
Regarding this matter, all of the subordinates were able to understand. The green and red brothers. Do LV Tao and Yi Hong dare to touch His Honor's body? Obviously, they don't dare to touch His Honor's body. His Honor's reverse scale is his wife's. Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji could be seen walking forward, while LV Liang and Yi Hong were retreating backwards. Helplessness could be seen on their faces. What should we do now? Open the door. Qing Ya said. Honorable Madam, His Honor will beat us to such *T. LV Liang said with a bitter face. Yi Hong, who was at the side, felt that all women were the same. My own Zishan is also this unreasonable and troublesome. She blames herself for not being able to give birth to a child, causing me to even suspect that I have a male disease. Dong Huang Baiji said gravely, there's no need to wait for your His Honor anymore. Right now, we are going to beat the *T out of you. Open the door.
If not, I will tell His Honor that the two of you have ill intentions towards us.
The green and red brothers. You can't be so unreasonable. Who can save us? You two can be at ease. Even if His Honor finds out about this, he won't blame you two. Just say that you two were threatened by us. Hurry up and open the door. At this point, LV Liang and Yi Hong had no other choice but to open the door. Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji revealed gentle smiles on their faces. Qing Ya said, "Not bad. Yihua didn't waste his efforts in finding wives for you guys. I was obviously threatened by you guys, okay? Madam, don't be too surprised after you go in. We'll just watch from the outside." Surprise? This caused Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji to become even more curious. A woman's heart was burning with gossip. The two women walked directly into the dark cell. LV Liang and Yi Hong quickly closed the door, and then stood guard at the door as if nothing had happened. However, what they didn't know was that right now, Yihua was standing not too far away from them. Even though Yihua was looking at them, he didn't reject his wives from entering. In fact, he even let out a light sigh. Even such a melodramatic plot has happened to me. I might as well have the Calabash brothers save my grandfather instead. He didn't know how they would react when they saw the younger brother inside. They would definitely be very shocked. Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji walked down the stairs. There were candles on both sides of the walls, lighting up the narrow stairs. This environment sure isn't good. It's eerie. Dong Huang Baiji said in a low voice. She did not like this kind of prison. Qing Ya said softly, "It's all right, the dungeons are all like this. I wonder who exactly did Yihua lock up here and how frustrated he is." Qing Ya suddenly thought of something. It can't be a woman, right? That's possible, but he didn't want us to know about it. Dong Huang Baiji nodded her head. Originally, Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji were curious and gossipy. However, right now, Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji were a bit nervous. If it really is a woman, should we secretly kill her? Snatching a man from us is simply courting death. Slowly walking to the top of the staircase. Below the staircase were numerous cages. The entire underground prison was very dark, and the candles on the walls were unable to light up the entire underground prison. However, Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji seemed to be able to see that there seemed to be a human figure at the top of the staircase. Sure enough, there was a person locked inside. Dong Huang Baiji suddenly snapped her finger, and the infinity ring on her ring finger could be seen flashing for a bit. Soon after, the entire prison looked as if it was bathed in sunlight. The two women finally saw the human figure, and the human figure's back was still facing them. However, they also let out a sigh of relief. It wasn't a woman, it was a man. However, this man actually had his back facing them. He is a bit arrogant. Acting deep. Just now, Yi Juetian heard the footsteps of someone entering the prison, and he also heard the conversation between the two women. "I have been locked up here for 3 days and I haven't seen a single person, and now, someone suddenly came." Yi Juetian's flirtatious aura came again, and he hurriedly turned his back towards the two women. However, Yi Juetian was also curious as to who these two women are. Judging from the light footsteps, they should be those kind of gentle women. Suddenly, Yi Juetian thought of something. These two can't be Big Brother's women, right? This Big Brother has lost his memories, so it is very normal for him to find a woman. However, then, what about sister-in-law? What about pitiful sister-in-law? Big Brother's actions are too disappointing. For Big Brother, sister-in-law knelt down and worshipped Big Brother for 1,000 years. Which woman would be able to do that? None at all. However, it is still hard to say right now. What if it is someone else? It might even be Big Brother's subordinates. Big Brother's subordinates are both male and female. I have seen them that day. As Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji walked closer, they suddenly felt that this back view is very familiar. Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji took a look at each other, and from each other's eyes, they could see that this back view is actually exactly the same as Yi Hua's. Walking to the side of the metal door, the two women wrinkled their brows, and their beautiful eyes were filled with doubt. "Who are you?" Qing Ya asked gravely. Yi Juetian could be seen standing with his hands behind his back, and his head was slightly raised at a 45 degrees angle. This action caused Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji to go into a daze. Acting cool, he is the same as Yi Hua. Yi Juetian could be heard shouting out with a deep tone, "The cool breeze is trustworthy, the boundless autumn moon is boundless, how can an enchanting man like me?" Yi Juetian turned his head around while acting cool, but before he could finish speaking he got stuck. Yi Juetian looked at Qing Ya and Dong Huang Baiji with a stupefied expression. These two women are so beautiful, to actually be able to compete with big sister-in-law, Awesome. However, right now, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji looked as if they were struck by lightning as they looked at Yi Juetian's face blankly. Why did Yi Hua lock himself up? Has he gone mad? No, this isn't Yi Hua. Although Yi Hua likes to act cool, he definitely wouldn't act so coquettishly. Furthermore, the tone that he spoke with was also very frivolous. Yi Hua had always been a very steady person, and it was very rare for him to even joke around. However, who is this man? Why does he look so much like Yi Hua? Is this what Yi Hua is vexed about? Towards a person who looks like Yi Hua? This doesn't seem to be possible, right? Just like that, the two of them looked at each other blankly. One of them was stunned, while the other two were stupefied by Yi Hua's appearance. After a long time, Donghuang Baiji asked gravely, "Just who are you, and why do you look so much like Yi Hua?"
Yi Juetian came back to his senses and retracted that frivolous expression of his, then asked in a low voice, "Who are you two?" If it wasn't for him being frivolous at the start, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji would have treated him as Yi Hua. "We are Yi Hua's wives. Who exactly are you?" Qingya asked confusedly. Her mind was filled with question marks. Yi Juetian was still very shocked in his heart.
These two beautiful women are actually Big Brother's women. My God. My guess was actually correct. Then, what about Big Sister-in-law? Back then, Big Brother was a very single-minded man, and he even said that his only woman in this lifetime would be Big Sister-in-law, and Big Sister-in-law would be Big Brother's one and only woman. However, right now it was not like that at all, and two women had directly jumped out from his body. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertising words. Chapter 957. If his sister-in-law knew about this, he really didn't know how she would react. He was very worried. Yi Juetian's attitude was very obvious. He was definitely standing on his sister-in-law's side. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were a bit puzzled. This person actually revealed a hostile gaze towards us? What does he mean? At the very least, there wasn't any at the beginning. It was only after hearing his introduction. "I am your husband's younger brother," Yi Juetian said in a low voice. Hearing what Yi Juetian said, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were shocked. This was indeed shocking. Yi Hua has a biological younger brother? I have never heard Yi Hua mention this matter before. However, right now, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji had no choice but to believe Yi Hua's words. Judging from Yi Hua's attitude these few days, and his appearance, Yi Hua's blood-related younger brother should be the real deal. But, in a situation where Yi Hua knows that I have a blood-related younger brother, why did he still lock this blood-related younger brother up? Just what is the meaning of this? The two women were very confused, not knowing what Yi Hua was thinking about. The three of them were silent for a long time, each thinking about their own matters. Yi Juetian felt that this matter couldn't be blamed on them. Big Brother was currently in a state of amnesia and had completely forgotten about sister-in-law. But in his heart, he felt that it was unfair for sister-in-law. Sister-in-law was infatuated, but in the end, she got such a result. This was very unfair to sister-in-law. Did Big Brother have a change of heart? Did Yi Hua have a change of heart?
Actually, from the very start, the reason why they got together was because of the child.
Donghuang Baiji was the same as well. Because Donghuang Baiji gave birth to a child, Yi Hua felt that Donghuang Baiji was his woman, and thus, Donghuang Baiji was his woman. How could he possibly allow his woman to be with another man? How could this be? However, in the situation where they interacted with each other, Yi Hua gradually experienced the taste of love. It was very comfortable, and Yi Hua was infatuated with it. Of course, Qing Yutong was the only one who became pregnant under the circumstance that she didn't have a child.
The stimulation of this matter should be greater than the love.
Are you really Yi Hua's blood-related younger brother? Qingya asked with a surprised tone. Yes, we are blood brothers with the same father and mother, Yi Juetian said with certainty. That blood test was also a fact placed in front of him. Donghuang Baiji asked confusedly, "That Yi Hua never mentioned you before?" Because Big Brother lost his memory. Memory loss? Qingya and Donghuang Baiji cried out in surprise. Yi Juetian let out a long sigh. That's right, Big Brother and I are both deities, and we have been living in spirit capital since 1,000 years ago. Because of a war, There was no news of Big Brother, and we all thought that Big Brother had died. However, just a few days ago, when I came down, I saw Big Brother. Big Brother didn't die. But everything has been forgotten. 1,000 years. Yi Hua was a deity who lived in Lingdu, and he was killed? This is different from what Yi Hua said. Yi Hua said that his group was wiped out in Kangluo continent, not in Spiritual City. How did you get to know Big Brother? Yi Juetian asked. Qingya took a deep breath. This is a long story, we will be leaving first. After finished speaking, Qingya pulled Dong Huang Baiji and left. The amount of information that Dong Huang Baiji had just received was too huge, and I'm a little unable to accept it. I have to go out and clear my head.
Seeing that the two women were about to leave, Yi Juetian shouted out, "Sister-in-law, let Big Brother sober up. He has become much more savage than before."
In actuality, Yi Juetian didn't want to call her sister-in-law. In Yi Juetian's heart, there was only one sister-in-law, but he didn't know what to call her. In any case, she was his big brother's wife right now, so he could only call her like this. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji paused for a moment. The two women knew about Yi Hua's savagery. However, that wasn't Yi Hua's fault. Yi Hua wasn't a man who would take the initiative to cause trouble. It was those who came to provoke Yi Hua without any regard for their lives, causing Yi Hua to be enraged. The two walked out of the underground prison. Seeing the expression of Yi Hua's wife, LV Tao and Yi Hong thought in their hearts. As expected. Along the way, Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji didn't speak and walked silently. Very soon, they arrived at Yi Hua's bedroom. Yi Hua was currently sitting in the pavilion, and Daji was kneeling beside him, brewing tea. Looking at Yi Hua's face, they really look exactly the same. Only blood-related brothers can look like this. The two women let out a sigh of relief, then walked towards Yi Hua. "Madams." Daji greeted respectfully, then brewed 2 cups of tea for Yi Hua. Yi Hua drank the tea and asked faintly, "You have met him, right?" Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji were startled. As expected, we can't escape from this. Thus, they didn't deny it and nodded their heads. Yi Hua placed down the teacup, then took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. "Recently, I haven't smoked for a very long time, but these few days, my mood was a bit gloomy. Thus, I specially went to buy a Furong King cigarette." Afterward, Yi Hua used the deviant fire on his fingertip to light up the cigarette, then slowly took a puff. "Does he look like me?" Yi Hua asked in a low voice. His tone seemed to be very helpless. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji nodded their heads. "Not only does he look like me, if he had the same hairstyle, then when he acts cool, he would look exactly the same." "He said that I lost my memory. Do you two believe him?" Yi Hua asked. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji didn't know how to answer. This question was rather thorny. However, he is indeed my blood-related younger brother. Does this mean that I have really lost my memory? Yi Hua laughed lightly, with a bit of self-mockery in his voice. The two women became speechless once again. No wonder Yi Hua has been acting so strangely these few days. If he were to encounter any enemies, he wouldn't even care about them, and he would even be very happy that an enemy had appeared. However, even though the enemy wasn't an enemy, the enemy was even scarier than the enemy. Because, the enemy that Yi Hua's current life might become complicated. Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji both knew that Yi Hua hated complicated things. Daji poured more tea for Yi Hua. Yi Hua picked up the teacup and blew on it, then said faintly, "He said that I was a hero in the past, hee." After finished speaking, Yi Hua lightly took a sip of the tea. "I, the Supreme Overlord, am a hero? I have killed so many people that I can't even remember how many people I have killed. What a joke. If I was a hero in the past, then I am an ambitious and ruthless person right now. Whoever wants to be a hero can go ahead and be one. I, the Supreme Overlord, will never be a hero in my entire life. Do you two think that I should get to the bottom of this as well?" Yi Hua looked at his two beloved wives and asked. He was also seeking Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji's opinion. If he were to get to the bottom of this matter, Yi Hua felt that it would be rather troublesome. If he didn't want to get to the bottom of this matter, then his current life wouldn't change, and he would just have to live the way he was supposed to live. As for Yi Juetian, all he had to do was to send him to the heavens again. However, from Qingya and Dong Huang Baiji's point of view, they still hoped that Yi Hua would be able to get to the bottom of this matter. That way, he wouldn't have any regrets. Family members were also indispensable. Thinking up to here, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji held onto Yihua's hand and gave him encouragement. It is better to get to the bottom of some things. Yihua, you are a brave man, but your current behavior is a bit cowardly. Donghuang Baiji said with a teasing tone. Hearing that, Yihua laughed lightly. Indeed, the current me is a bit cowardly, and I don't dare to face the things that happened in the past. This was also human nature. For Yihua to have such a reaction, it meant that he was becoming more and more like a human, and not a cold-blooded undead. Yihua couldn't help but pinch onto Donghuang Baiji's cheek. Your Majesty, you are mischievous. Chapter 958. Editor. Milman 97-inch alright. Yihua. Alright, Yihua, let that little brother of yours out. How can there be a big brother like you, locking someone up just because of a disagreement? Qingya lightly patted on the back of Yihua's hand, giving him encouragement. Yihua drank the tea in the teacup, then nodded his head, then told Wei Chong to bring the person over. After a while, Wei Chong and Yi Juetian could be seen walking over. This was the first time Daji saw Yi Juetian, and she was a bit stupefied. She looked at her master, then looked at this Yi Juetian. They really look alike. Even if it was Qingya and Donghuang Baiji, they couldn't help but sigh at the strength of this gene. Yihua didn't look at them and continued drinking his tea. Actually, in Qingya's eyes, the more Yihua acted like he didn't care, the more he cared. Yi Juetian knew that it would be like this. After Big Brother's wife sees me, she will definitely tell Big Brother about it. If it is a good woman, I will definitely come out. As expected, I came out. This means that the two wives that Big Brother found are both good women. Yi Juetian's impression of Qingya and Donghuang Baiji increased by quite a bit. However, who is that flirtatious woman at the side? She is actually kneeling at the side and brewing tea, seemingly very respectful towards Big Brother. Could it be that she is also Big Brother's woman? Not only did Big Brother become ferocious, he also became lecherous. He is definitely controlled by people from Shanghai. After all, in the eyes of Shanghai, being able to turn a deity bad is a magnificent feat. Yihua waved his hand, and Wei Chong left respectfully. Come over, Yihua said faintly. Hearing Big Brother's words, Yi Juetian felt that his tone was exactly the same as before. Only when he was talking to mother and sister-in-law would his tone be a bit gentler. Yi Juetian obediently walked into the pavilion. Daji still brewed a cup of tea and handed it over. Yi Juetian felt that this woman shouldn't be Big Brother's woman. After all, Big Brother's woman is sitting at the side, and this woman looks more like a servant. Yi Juetian thanked, then sat at the side and lightly took a sip. Good tea. No, this tea is brewed well. Big Brother still knows how to enjoy himself. Big Brother, come back with me. If Mother knows that you are still alive, she will be very happy. Yi Juetian placed down the teacup and said with a pleading tone. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji slightly frowned. And his mother? Wasn't that his mother-in-law? Is Yihua's mother powerful? Is she the strict type? I heard that mothers-in-law are usually the strict type. Is she satisfied with me? All kinds of questions were hovering in Qingya and Donghuang Baiji's mind, and they suddenly felt that their current life was pretty good. Not interested, Yihua said faintly. The word mother was too unfamiliar. Most importantly, she didn't know how to face it. I've lived alone for 1,000 years. I'm used to it. Hearing his Big Brother's cold tone, Yi Juetian was very anxious and quickly said, Big Brother, ever since there was no news of you, Mother has been sick, and is currently relying on the spirit spring to hang on to her last breath. Mother just wants to see you once, Big Brother. After Qingya and Donghuang Baiji heard what Yihua said, both of them were astonished. They didn't expect that Yihua's mother would actually be seriously ill and unable to get up. Furthermore, she was only hanging on to her last breath just to wait for her son to come back. The two women felt a little sour in their hearts. After all, they were also mothers. If their children disappeared, they would feel the same way. Thus, even now, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji still hoped that Yihua would be able to go and take a look. However, to Yihua, back then when he broke out from the ground, he was just a skeleton. How could he have a mother? That mother was basically a stranger. In Yi Hua's heart, how could he not have fantasized about his mother? However, when his mother really appeared before his eyes, he had a feeling of being abandoned, a feeling of being an orphan. Back then, I was just a skeleton, and everyone who saw me beat me up into a skeleton. No one cared about me, and right now, you are telling me that I have a mother who is seriously ill? If that is the case, when I was being humiliated back then, where did everyone go? Everything that I have right now was exchanged with my life. I no longer owe anyone anything. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji could sense Yi Hua's unhappiness, and they didn't really understand what was going through Yi Hua's mind right now. Suddenly, Yi Hua didn't want to think about the past anymore. The past has nothing to do with me anymore. Ever since I broke out from the ground, I am no longer a person. I am an undead clan member. I am an undead for the rest of my life. I have never been a human. You can go back now. Just act as if you never saw me, and don't let me see you in the future either. Yi Hua said coldly. These few days, he had been thinking about this problem. But right now, he already had an answer. Hearing his big brother say such heartless words, anger appeared on Yi Juetian's face. I really feel that my mother and sister-in-law are wronged. Bang! Yi Juetian immediately slammed the table. This gave Qingya and Donghuang Baiji a fright. You are the first man who dares to slap the table in front of Yi Hua. Daji, who was kneeling at the side, was also waiting for orders. As long as Yi Hua gives a look, this man will be instantly killed. To actually be disrespectful in front of the master. Big brother. You actually said such words. You have disappointed the hearts of those who are worried about you. Mother has already been lying on the sickbed for so long, and she just wants to see you. Chapter 959. Omega, choking with sobs. Novel. In actuality, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were also feeling very vexed. Just who was Yi Hua before he lost his memories? Based on what Yi Juetian had just said, he should be someone who was loved and respected by many. Yi Hua had a wife in the past, and she was even waiting for Yi Hua to come back. This was not good news at all. The entire matter was very troublesome. I don't know how Yi Hua is going to deal with this. However, since such a thing has happened, is Yi Hua really going to treat it as if nothing happened? It shouldn't be possible. Right now, Yi Hua was just unable to accept it. On the other side, Yi Juetian returned to spiritual capital with a belly full of anger. Spirit capital was the center of God's realm. Just like the one that Yi Hua destroyed in the past, it was just a small place. Spirit capital was different. Powerful supremes were gathered here. There were even a few supremes. Dozuns could be seen everywhere. However, in this place, strength was an advantage, but one still needed the authority of a family. A large family was more useful than a paragon. For example, the Yi family was one of the 3 great families of Spirit City, but it was not as glorious and beautiful as it used to be. Ever since the eldest son of Yi family, Yi Hua, went missing 1,000 years ago, Yi family began to gradually decline, and Yi family had already been replaced by Yi family. However, Yi family was still the leader of the second-tier families. Other than the 3 big families, Yi family was the only one left. Spirit capital was no different from the empires in the Kangluo continent. They both had houses and imperial cities. The only difference was probably the environment. The air was filled with rich spiritual energy, which was worlds apart from the Kangluo continent. When Yi Juetian appeared on the streets of Lingdu, quite a few girls looked at him with gazes of adoration, and there were even some girls who saw Yi Juetian as Yi Hua's substitute. After all, the 2 brothers were simply too alike, and it was as if Yi Hua had not died back then, and was still standing right in front of them, alive and well. Yi Juetian didn't have the slightest intention of showing off today. His face was stiff, and there was a suffocating feeling in his chest. Big brother had changed. That person was not his big brother at all. Big brother was indeed cold in the past, but his heart was still warm. He was very good to his family, friends, and brothers. Even if he knew that his brothers were jealous, he would still come forward to help. In Big Brother's words, they were all brothers, so there was no need to be so calculative. The big brother of the past and the big brother of the present were like 2 polar opposites. He really couldn't understand them. Unknowingly, Yi Juetian had arrived at the entrance of the Yi clan's residence. Yi family. 2 words were engraved on the black signboard in a flamboyant style, and a powerful aura emanated from it. On both sides of the signboard were not lions, but jade dragons. This was bestowed by Lingdu's emperor, a reward for Yi family's many years of contributions. Of course, this was something that happened after Yi Hua went missing. Only the Yi clan could enjoy such an imperial gift. The current 3 great clans did not have such treatment. After all, the dragon was the symbol of the emperor. Young Master Yi. The guards standing on both sides of the Yi family greeted respectfully. Yi Juetian walked in with a gloomy face, causing the family guards to be a bit suspicious. This Yi family's 6th brother was not normal. In the past, he would always tease him, but today, his face was gloomy. Could it be that he encountered something unhappy? Or did he suffer a loss outside? If that was the case, then it must be the other 3 big families. Thinking back to the past, the Yi family was so glorious, but the glory of the past was gone forever. The Yi family's residence had never changed, and the Yi family still enjoyed the same treatment as before. There was a small bridge and flowing water in the residence, and the environment was elegant. It was the best place to stay healthy, and with the fragrance in the air, it was truly a pleasant place. 6th brother, what have you been doing these few days? Just as Yi Juetian was preparing to go to his mother's courtyard, a voice sounded out from behind. Yi Juetian slowly turned his head around. The man who was standing not far away had an outstanding appearance, and he looked somewhat similar to Yi Juetian. He was Yi family's 3rd brother, Yi Chen. 3rd brother. Yi Juetian cupped his hands and greeted. In the Yi family, they still paid a lot of attention to the order of seniority, and this also meant that the teachings of the Yi family were very strict. Don't cause trouble outside. If you cause trouble, even the Yi family won't be able to protect you. Yi Chen said lightly, then turned around and left. But even so, Yi Juetian still cupped his hands and sent him off. After all, he was the youngest one. Yi Juetian let out a breath, then continued to walk towards his mother's room. When he stood at his mother's door, Yi Juetian hesitated again. Should I tell my mother about this matter? If my mother heard that Big Brother is still alive, she would definitely be very happy. But now, Big Brother doesn't even acknowledge you at all. Wouldn't my mother be even sadder after hearing this? Little Tian? Is that you? A weak voice sounded out from within the room. Yi Juetian let out a small breath, then squeezed out a smile on his face as he pushed open the door and entered the room. Within the room, there was a middle-aged woman who was dressed very simply. But even if that was the case, the middle-aged woman's beauty could not be concealed. The reason why Yi Hua and Yi Juetian were so handsome was all because of their mother. As expected, only with powerful genes would one be able to give birth to such outstanding children. There was still a deity being worshipped in the room, and Yi Juetian could tell that his mother had just finished praying. But now, he felt that this kind of praying was completely useless. Big Brother doesn't even want to come back to see you. Little Tian, come and sit. Lu Jing waved her hand with a kind smile on her face. Many years ago, Lu Jing was a famous beauty in Lingdu. She was proficient in the 4 arts of zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and countless men prostrated themselves before her. But now, ever since her son went missing, there were more and more wrinkles on her face, and there were more and more white hairs on her temples. In fact, there were even more and more white hairs on her face, and she no longer had the beautiful appearance she had back then. One had to know that gods had an ageless appearance. It was strange for Lu Jing to have such a situation, but Lu Jing had no intention of changing. Underneath this, there was even a vicious demon of illness that required a drop of spirit spring water to survive. Seeing his mother like this, Yi Juetian felt very uncomfortable. Back then, his father doted on his mother the most, but in the end, his mother missed his big brother and gradually changed. Now, he rarely came to visit his mother. Sometimes, he even had to beg his father for the spirit spring water that his mother used. This was how he had been living for the past 1,000 years. Yi Juetian sat beside her mother, and when Lu Jing looked at Yi Juetian, it was as if she was looking at her own Yi Hua. Only at this moment would I have the motivation to continue waiting. Little Tian, what's wrong today? Lu Jing held her son's hand and asked with concern. Yi Juetian felt the coldness of his mother's palm and frowned. Mother, have you taken your medicine? Yes, Lu Jing said softly. Her gentle smile seemed to be telling her son not to worry about his mother. Yi Juetian looked at the golden jade bottle beside him. Don't think that it's just a small bottle. It's a primordial divine artifact. Green essence pot. A small thing that can preserve the medicinal properties of the spirit spring. The spirit spring needed this green essence pot to store it. If one were to use other things, it would be completely useless. After all, spirit spring water was very rare, and only the royal family had it. And his mother needed a drop of it every day, and if she stopped using it, her life would be in danger. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertising words. Chapter 960. Yi Juetian immediately opened the green essence pot. It was already empty inside. Lu Jing smiled gently as if she was comforting her son. However, when he saw his mother's smile, Yi Juetian felt like crying. He hated himself for being useless. If he had even half of his big brother's talent, he wouldn't have fallen to such a state.
Mother, I will go and ask for it from father.
Yi Juetian held onto the green essence pot and said in a deep voice. Lu Jing grabbed her son's sleeve and shook her head. Little Tian, forget it. Don't go looking for him. He has to go beg others. Mother doesn't want to be a burden to you. Mother, don't worry, I will have a way. I will definitely have a way. Yi Juetian said in a deep voice. Looking at his mother's pale face, his heart ached endlessly. Lu Jing held her son tightly and said softly, Little Tian, you know your mother's illness. I beg you this time, but there will be a next time, and a time after that. There will be no end. Then I'll go find sister-in-law.
Actually, what Yi Juetian wanted to say was that his sister-in-law had given him even more, and his father rarely went to ask for money anymore. He felt that his father had already abandoned his mother.
Little Tian, Yuqing has already done enough. Mother doesn't want to see you two continue to work so hard. Yi Hua has already been gone for so many years, and I have already accepted it. You should properly guide Yuqing and tell her to stop being so stubborn. Just agree to the imperial family, Lu Jing said softly. 100 years after Yi Hua went missing, Yi family declined, and Qian family, which was also one of the three big families, proposed to cancel the marriage. Everyone knew that Yi Hua and Qian Yuqing only stopped at the wedding ceremony and didn't even have the time to consummate their marriage. After that, they were called to go to war and never came back. However, even if they had consummated their marriage, many people wouldn't care. After all, Qian Yuqing's appearance was intoxicating. Of course they would want such a woman. What else could the declining Yi clan do? They could only comply with the Qian clan. Qian Yuqing, who was originally living in the Yi clan, was taken away. At that time, Qian Yuqing didn't want to leave no matter what. That day, Spirit Capital resounded with Qian Yuqing's mournful cries. Many people heard it. The heavens were weeping. Yi Hua and Qian Yuqing's feelings for each other were spread all over the streets and alleys of Spirit City. However, in recent years only the royal family wanted to marry Qian Yuqing. According to tradition, a member of the royal family could not marry a woman who had been married before. However, this prince was different. His talent and strength were comparable to Yehua back then, and thus, the emperor approved of it. After all, his son liked him. However, Qian Yuqing wouldn't agree no matter what. She declared that she was Yi Hua's woman in this lifetime, and even if she were to die, she would still be Yi Hua's woman. This was no less than offending the royal family. If it was Qian family, it would still be fine, but it was Yi Hua. Even though Yi Hua had been dead for 1,000 years, there were still people discussing about Yi Hua. This made the imperial family very unhappy, and Yi family had once again offended the imperial family. The spirit spring water that Lu Jing needed came from the royal family, and the royal family could cut it off and give it to her whenever they wanted. Knowing such a thing, Lu Jing didn't want them to beg. If she died, the whole Yi family would be relaxed, and there was no need to compromise. Sister-in-law won't agree, Yi Juetian said in a low voice. His hands tightly gripped the green essence pot. He was also thinking about a problem. Should he tell his mother? Big brother was still alive. But it was useless. Lu Jing held her son's hand tightly and said in a low voice, Little Tian, just say mother needs the spiritual spring. Yuqing will understand. Mother, how can you be like this? You are pushing sister-in-law away, Yi Juetian said in shock. He immediately understood what his mother meant. For the sake of the spiritual spring, sister-in-law married into the royal family. Lu Jing let out a light sigh. Could it be that you want to see your Yuqing become like me? Yuqing is still young, and has a beautiful future ahead of her. I have also heard of Huang Yun before. He is a person who is comparable to Yi Hua. For Yuqing to marry such a person, I will be at ease. Mother. Actually. All right, don't say any more. Just do as mother says. It is time for this matter to come to an end. Yi Juetian wanted to say it out, but in the end, he was interrupted by his mother.
However, right now, he still had to go and find sister-in-law to ask for some of the spiritual spring water.
Mother's complexion looked very bad. Mother, rest well, I will be back soon.
Yi Juetian nodded his head and said gravely.
Lu Jing revealed out a gratified smile, then stretched out her ice-cold hand and caressed Yi Juetian's face. The happiest thing that happened in mother's life is giving birth to the two of you. I don't have any regrets anymore. Mother, you won't have any regrets. Believe me, Big Brother is definitely still alive.
Yi Hua has always been living in mother's heart.
Lu Jing said slowly with boundless longing. Looking at her youngest son, it was as if she was looking at Yi Hua again. The two brothers really look alike. Yi Juetian took in a deep breath. Mother, wait for me to come back. After finished speaking, Yi Juetian ran out of the room and closed the door. Looking at the cold and cheerless courtyard, his heart felt like it was going to turn cold. Just now, mother seemed to be saying her last words. This feeling is really not good. How can I let Big Brother come back and take a look at mother, even if it is just a look? Sister-in-law? Right now, I can only rely on sister-in-law. Back then, Big Brother was also very obedient to sister-in-law. However, if sister-in-law really went to look for Big Brother, wouldn't that make the royal family angry? At that time, the consequences would be very serious. What if no one finds out? This is a good idea. I can only let sister-in-law go and erase the demon in Big Brother's heart and let Big Brother return to how he was in the past. I wonder what kind of expression sister-in-law will have when she hears the news that Big Brother is still alive. She will probably be stupefied, right? Yi Juetian hurriedly went to look for sister-in-law. Right now, sister-in-law is definitely praying in the temple. But right now, she is praying at home and is being grounded. Right now, we need a secret passageway. I heard that this secret passageway was dug by sister-in-law herself, and she directly dug it into Big Brother's room. I simply admire sister-in-law's courage. In order to sneak a peek at Big Brother bathing, she was willing to do anything. However, this is also what makes sister-in-law cute. Yi Juetian came to Big Brother's room, and the room was already covered in dust. Yi Juetian walked to the flower screen and opened up the floorboard. A passageway appeared below, and it could directly lead to Chen family. After all, I can't openly look for sister-in-law anymore. Chen family and Yi family have long stopped talking and cut off all ties with each other. Very quickly, Yi Juetian came to the top of the passageway and lightly knocked on it, then waited for a response. Very quickly, footsteps sounded out from the top of the passageway.
Yi Juetian was now at ease, and he moved his head away from the top of the passageway.
A face that was so beautiful that it could make one suffocate appeared in front of him. Although it was just a plain dress, it was unable to conceal that breathtaking look. Her eyebrows were like the faint moon, and her eyes were like the cold stars. A layer of haziness surged within her jet black and deep eyes, and that slight smile made one feel as if they were bathing in spring water.
However, Yi Juetian knew that sister-in-law was lying to him.
Sister-in-law. It's true. I've been locked up by Big Brother for the past few days. Big Brother has lost his memory. He doesn't remember anything. Following Yi Juetian's explanation, Chen Yuqing's expression was calm. However, the tears in her eyes were like pearls from a broken necklace. Only after a while did Chen Yuqing's expression change. With a look of panic and nervousness, she grabbed Yi Juetian's shoulders with both hands. Really? You're not lying to me? It's true. Big Brother is really still alive. At that time, even I jumped in fright. Big Brother himself seemed to have jumped in fright as well. Then, Big Brother used a blood test method to verify it. Yi Juetian's words made Chen Yuqing feel like she was about to go crazy. After waiting for 1,000 years, this day had finally arrived. I just knew that Yihua wouldn't die. How could Yihua die so easily? So he lost his memory. Heavens bless him. Qian Yuqing hurriedly knelt in front of the god and sincerely kowtowed with a heart full of gratitude. Yi Juetian stood at the side and watched. He did not stop Qian Yuqing. Sister-in-law, there's even worse news. As long as Yihua is still alive, there's no worse news. Qian Yuqing finally smiled. It was as if she had returned to the past. That feeling of joy caused her entire person to go through a tremendous change. In the past, she was lifeless, but right now, it was as if she had come back to life.
She emitted an enchanting radiance and looked exceptionally moving.
Sister-in-law, listen to me. It really is bad news. Qian Yuqing stood up with a joyful mood and asked curiously, is Yihua still well? The current Qian Yuqing looked as if she had returned to when she was 18 years old. Right now, Big Brother is no longer the Big Brother in the past. Yi Juetian said gravely. After hearing that, Qian Yuqing slightly wrinkled her eyebrows and asked in a low voice, what happened? Sister-in-law, do you know under what circumstances did I coincidentally meet Big Brother? Over 10,000 people begged me to go down. Over 10,000 people. Qian Yuqing was very puzzled. Big Brother killed those 10,000 people who were unarmed and defenseless. There were old and young among them. Not a single one was left alive and all of them were beheaded.
Yi Juetian said with a heavy tone.
Impossible. Qian Yuqing said straightforwardly. In her heart, Yihua was an indomitable man, so how could he possibly go and kill defenseless and defenseless people? Yi Juetian took in a deep breath. In the beginning, I was also unable to imagine it, but this is real. I saw it with my own eyes, and soon after, I was locked up by Big Brother. Ah, Yihua locked you up? Qian Yuqing was very puzzled. If what Xiao Tian said is true, then Yihua's change is truly earth-shattering. And in the end? Or what? In the end, it was Big Brother's 2 wives who discovered me and begged for mercy for me. Only then did he let me out. Chapter 962. Qian Yuqing said firmly. No matter what, Yihua is my man. Even if I die, I have to die in front of him. Yi Juetian nodded his head. Sister-in-law, the news of Big Brother still being alive cannot be leaked. We have to make secret arrangements this time. And I know that. Qian Yuqing said in a low voice. Back then, Yihua suddenly disappeared and was said to be dead, but his corpse was not found. The entire matter was suspicious, and he might even have been framed. Therefore, the news of Yihua still being alive must not be found out. If some people were to find out, they would definitely do something bad to Yihua. At least that was what Qian Yuqing thought. However, Yihua just wanted people to do something bad to him.
Yi Juetian said in a low voice. Sister-in-law, I can't accompany you anymore after all. The 2 of us cannot meet each other at the same time.
All right, where is Yihua now? In Kangluo continent, at a place called Wuxia Empire. He is the emperor. Hearing Yi Juetian's words, Qian Yuqing laughed lightly. In the past, I felt that Yihua doesn't look like a general, and he looks more like an emperor.
Just as the 2 of them were preparing, a shadow appeared at the door.
Someone is here. Yi Juetian's heart sunk. I definitely can't forcefully move right now. If not, I will be discovered. Yuqing, are you there? A unique male voice rang out at the door. Qian Yuqing's expression sunk. Why did Huang Yun suddenly come over? Yi Juetian looked at Qian Yuqing.
Right now, he did not dare to move, as Huang Yun might very likely sense it. Qian Yuqing let out a breath and said, I am here, what is the matter?
Yuqing, can I come in? Huang Yun's tone was rather gentle, but compared to his identity, this kind of gentleness was rather low profile. After all, Huang Yun was currently a powerful figure in Spiritual City, comparable to Yihua. Qian Yuqing hurriedly said, It's not convenient for me right now. I have something that I want to discuss with you. I will wait for you outside. Huang Yun said with a smile. He was very patient. For so many years, Huang Yun had always spoken to Qian Yuqing with this kind of tone. He was indeed a very persistent man. If another man tried to chase after her for hundreds of years and still failed, wouldn't that man die from anger? After all, Huang Yun's identity was right there. In actuality, Huang Yun was much younger than Qian Yuqing. At the very least, Huang Yun was only born after Yi Hua went missing. In fact, when Royal Cloud was born, a rare phenomenon appeared in the imperial palace. Hundreds of birds circled above the imperial palace. Just from this alone, Royal Cloud was extraordinary. Back then, there were even people who said that Yi Hua had reincarnated. When I was young in Imperial Cloud, I had always been listening to him. Although I don't know this person called Yi Hua, I hate him. I feel that I am living under someone else's shadow.
After that, I inquired about Yi Hua and discovered that this Yi Hua is indeed very strong to the point of being ridiculously strong.
Then, I definitely can't be weaker than him. Huang Yun's talent was indeed strong enough.
At the very least, in terms of cultivation, he was even faster than Ye Hua back then.
It was as if he had a cheat code. During one of the banquets, Huang Yun saw Qian Yuqing and immediately took a fancy to her.
He was determined to marry her.
In the end, he found out that even the woman was that Yi Hua. This made Huang Yun even more furious.
Since he was able to surpass others in terms of cultivation, there was no way he would be weak in other aspects.
If you can treat others well, then so can I. One couldn't help but say that Huang Yun had been competing with a dead person ever since he was born, and he had never given up. Qian Yuqing knew that if she didn't go out today, she definitely wouldn't leave.
She indicated to Yi Juetian to go under the table. Yi Juetian nodded and gave her a careful look.
Qian Yuqing was at ease. This Huang Yun was indeed strong, but his heart was still considered good. He wouldn't force others to do things that they weren't willing to do. Qian Yuqing stood up and tidied up her appearance. No matter what, this Huang Yun is a good person. These spirit springs were all given by Huang Yun. If not, where would I go to find spirit springs? Huang Yun also knew that this was for the sake of prolonging Yi Hua's mother's life. If it wasn't for the fact that her heart already belonged to someone, she might have really been touched. Qian Yuqing opened the door and saw Huang Yun standing at the door. Compared to Yi Hua, Huang Yun didn't have that kind of astonishing handsomeness, but he belonged to the standard type of war man.
Especially the smile at the corner of his mouth. There was a bit of dimple, making him look like the big boy next door.
Huang Yun was wearing an emperor robe that covered that immature aura, making him look more stable and reserved. Huang Yun had a head full of jet black hair, and on top of his head, there was an exquisite hairpin. In the past, Yi Hua also had a hairstyle like this, and it looked especially charming. However, the two's personalities were evidently different. Yuqing. When Huang Yun saw that the woman he liked had walked out, a happy smile immediately appeared on his face. He didn't even look at the situation inside the house. Qian Yuqing nodded, then closed the door and walked towards the garden outside the house.
Yi Juetian, who was inside the house, let out a breath of relief and hurriedly slipped away through the secret passage.
In the garden outside, Qian Yuqing was walking slightly at the front, while Huang Yun was following behind her. Although it was just a way of walking, it also represented what Huang Yun was thinking. To be able to let a woman walk in front of him, other than his mother, it would be Qian Yuqing.
This was a way of thinking that wanted to protect her, or perhaps, he was willing to let this woman walk in front of him and lead his life.
Were you praying just now? Huang Yun asked in a low voice. Of course, he knew what Qian Yuqing did every day. Most of her time was spent praying. Qian Yuqing didn't deny it and nodded slightly. Do you have anything to do today? Huang Yun slightly knitted his brows for a moment, then relaxed and said with a light smile, Minghuang Mountain is very beautiful this season. I want to go and take a look with you. Minghuang Mountain. Qian Yuqing naturally knew that it was very beautiful. After all, she had gone there with Yi Hua before. That day, when she confessed to Yi Hua, that idiot was shocked. Even now, she could still clearly remember that astonished expression on that idiot's face. Don't look at how cold Yi Hua usually appears to be. In actuality, he is just like a big boy, just that he isn't good at expressing himself. In the end, that fellow even pretended to be stupid and actually said, Minghuang Mountain is very beautiful today. I confess to you, and you said that the mountain is beautiful, serves you right to be single for your entire life. Then, I got angry and said, if you don't want me, I will marry someone else. After hearing that, Yi Hua's face immediately changed, and he directly said, I won't allow it. When she heard those 3 words, how could she be angry? Her heart felt warm. Then, she made a bold move. She faced Yihua and slightly raised her head, then closed her eyes. Her heartbeat simply reached an unimaginable speed. That idiot actually asked you what you were doing. Even now, Chen Yuqing still felt that it was funny. I have never seen such an idiot before, which is why she said, when a girl closes her eyes, she wants you to kiss her. Then, she became even angrier. Yihua said that there are too many people here, it isn't suitable. Chapter 963. The originally romantic atmosphere was ruined by an idiot. That day, she almost fainted from anger. However, she liked Yihua's dazed look. It was so cute. Although she didn't get kissed by Yihua, she still held onto Yihua's hand. But now, that kiss has been delayed for over 1,000 years. Yuqing. Seeing that Chen Yuqing didn't say anything, Huang Yun called out lightly. Following Huang Yun's call, Chen Yuqing's thoughts were pulled back. However, Chen Yuqing, who returned to reality, was at a loss. If she could, she would rather live in a fantasy or a dream. That way, she would be able to be together with Yihua every day. These days, my body isn't feeling well, Chen Yuqing said lightly. Minghuang Mountain was her and Yihua's place. Huang Yun was slightly disappointed. He had never gone out with Chen Yuqing before. He could only walk around the garden like this. Yuqing, take the green origin pot. Huang Yun took out the spirit spring from his robe. This was probably the only thing that could make Chen Yuqing turn back. Chen Yuqing accepted it. Thank you. Yuqing, we are about to get married. There is no need to be so polite, Huang Yun said gently. In his heart, he knew that the reason why Chen Yuqing was willing to marry him was because of the spirit spring. Others didn't know about the deal that the two made in private, but Huang Yun was already preparing for the wedding. If it was in the past, Chen Yuqing would have accepted her fate. But now, her hope was burning. But now she rejected again. The spirit spring was broken. Chen Yuqing was a bit hesitant. All right, I have finished. Yuqing, you are not feeling well. Go back to your room, Huang Yun said lightly, seeming to be very considerate. Then, I won't send you out. Chen Yuqing squeezed out a smile. Huang Yun smiled. No need, I have been to your house countless times. This sentence seemed to be saying that you have not been to my house before. Seeing that Chen Yuqing walked into the house, Huang Yun took a deep breath and walked towards the door. Ninth Prince. Huang Yun, who was in the corridor, heard the voice behind him. He turned around and took a look. It was Chen Yuqing's father, Chen Yi. Facing Chen Yuqing's father, Huang Yun was still very respectful. He cupped his hands and shouted, Uncle Chen. Are you here to find Yuqing? Why don't you talk more? Chen Yi looked rather ordinary, but no one knew that this ordinary man was actually a supreme being. However, one could see that one of Chen Yi's ears was missing. Yuqing isn't feeling well today. I won't disturb your rest, Huang Yun said politely, even though he knew it was just an excuse. However, they were all smart people and wouldn't point it out. If some things were exposed, then they wouldn't even be friends anymore. Ninth Prince. Yuqing is a bit slow. Don't rush. Chen Yi naturally hoped that her daughter would be able to marry Huang Yun. That way, Huang Yun would become the noblest woman in the entire Lingdu. One must know that the current Huang Yun was even more loved and respected than the emperor, just like how Yihua was back then. However, the biggest difference between Huang Yun and Yihua was that Huang Yun was a member of the royal family, and the emperor would be happy to be loved and respected, but Yihua was not. Huang Yun smiled understandingly. Uncle Chen, I understand. I still need to work harder. Come and have a cup of tea before returning to the palace. Then I'll have to trouble Uncle Chen. After returning to her room, Chen Yuqing opened the secret passage and walked in with the spiritual spring water in her hand. Sister-in-law. Yi Juetian had been waiting respectfully for a long time, and at the side, he had prepared some tools to conceal himself. Little Tian, take this. Chen Yuqing passed the spiritual spring water to Yi Juetian. Sister-in-law, why are you here again? I wasn't this diligent in the past. Suddenly, Yi Juetian thought of something. Sister-in-law, it can't be that you have already agreed to it, right? All right, you don't have to bother about this matter anymore. Cover for me. What else could Yi Juetian do? He could only make arrangements for his sister-in-law. Qian Yuqing could be seen wearing a white conical bamboo hat, and a white veil hung on the conical bamboo hat, completely covering her face. Yi family was rather strict, but when Yi Juetian learned how to go out and play when he was young, he had invented quite a few secret passages. After walking out of the Yi clan, Yi Juetian reminded her one last time, "Be careful. I'll leave Big Brother to you, sister-in-law. Little Tian, don't worry, I will bring your big brother back."
Thanks for your hard work, sister-in-law. Sister-in-law, take this and go to the room to find a mute person.
Yi Juetian could be seen taking out a yellow leaf. Qian Yuqing took the leaf and asked vigilantly, "Is it safe?" It's definitely safe."
The two of them immediately separated.
After all, they could not let anyone see them right now.
In the gods' realm, if one wanted to go down, they would not be able to go down just because they wanted to.
They would have to go through registration, and the realm room was the place to register. If one wanted to go to any plane, they would have to pass through here. Qian Yuqing quickly arrived at the realm room.
There were a lot of people here. After all, there was only one god's realm, and there were tens of thousands of worlds.
That day, Yi Juetian had also accepted a mission here, which was why he went down. Qian Yuqing searched the hall for a long time, but he did not see a single mute. Since he could not find the mute, Qian Yuqing had an idea and held the yellow leaf on his fingertips. If the mute saw it, he would definitely come over. Not long after, a short man walked over to Qian Yuqing's side.
He did not say anything, and only tilted his head, indicating for her to follow him.
Qian Yuqing was overjoyed, and quickly followed. After a few twists and turns, Mute brought Qian Yuqing to a room. There was a device placed inside. It looked rather simple and crude, as if it was made by himself. Mute looked at Qian Yuqing, as if asking where to go. Qian Yuqing said lightly, "Kangluo Continent, Wuxia Empire." Mute could be seen inputting something at the side. It should be the coordinates. The device looks very high-end. Qian Yuqing had never been down there before, and she was a bit worried. However, for the sake of seeing Yi Hua, she had to risk it all. Mute indicated for Qian Yuqing to stand on the device. Qian Yuqing let out a deep breath and walked onto the device. Before Qian Yuqing was ready, Mute pressed on the device. Qian Yuqing's delicate body instantly disappeared from the device. The best way to do this was to not be recorded, and thus, not be detected. This was also to prevent the fact that Yi Hua was still alive from being exposed. More importantly, this kind of non-official teleportation did not have that kind of extravagance. On top of Wuxia Empire city wall, Lai Gu was currently drinking wine by himself and looking into the distance. "Yi Hua, you have not returned home for almost a month. I miss you so much. This is the longest time that we have been apart." Beside Lai Gu, a cat was also licking the wine, seemingly to be missing someone too. Lai Gu let out a light sigh, then looked at the little cat and asked curiously, "Ju Tian, was your name given by his honor, or did you originally have this name?" Chapter 964. Ju Tian went into a daze for a moment.
Sitting on the table, Ju Tian slowly spoke. "His honor gave it to me. Back then, my original body looked exactly like this, and I was taken away by his honor. Absolute Heaven had only been able to speak for the past few days. This meant that Absolute Heaven was recovering very quickly. Most likely, before Brett returned, Absolute Heaven would be able to return to his human form. This was a good thing for the entire team. They now had another source of combat power. From the looks of it, his honor's amnesia isn't very complete, and it is merely a difference of a single word." Lai Gu mumbled. From the looks of it, Lai Gu's intelligence had also increased after drinking too much. Yeah. Absolute Heaven also felt that one was called Yi Ju Tian and the other was called Absolute Heaven. If you said that it was a coincidence, he would not believe it. Listen to Wei Chong. This morning, his honor chased away his blood brother. Lai Gu sat at the side of the table, poured another cup of wine and said helplessly, "This kind of thing would happen to anyone else. His honor is becoming more and more like a human, and this is all thanks to your wife." Ju Tian was the brains of the team, and there was naturally nothing wrong with what he said. "Ju Tian, have you ever thought about what if his honor had a wife in the past?"
With his honor's personality, I'm afraid that the situation is bad, Zhu Tian said gravely. Lai Gu slightly frowned. Are you saying that your wife is in a bad situation? No, it's the past that wasn't good. His honor isn't like you who likes everyone he sees. Zhu Tian, don't slander me. Ever since I got Yu Hua, I have been well behaved. Lai Gu snorted, and he was even very tsundere. It's just that a better one hasn't appeared yet. Absolute heaven did not forget to strike back. Did this lecherous dragon still not understand? Don't talk about so many useless things. Are you trying to say that his honor doesn't care about his former wife? Lai Gu asked curiously. I won't guarantee this kind of thing, but at the very least, I won't do it in the beginning. To his honor, this is a strange woman. To offend his honor's wife for a strange woman, his honor isn't that stupid. That's true. Unless your previous wife is as beautiful as your wife, his honor will probably consider it. Absolute heaven revealed a look of disdain. Do you think that everyone is like you? However, just as the two were blowing water, a wave of fluctuation came from behind them. This gave the two of them a fright, and the hair on Zhu Tian's body stood up. Lai Gu locked onto his target tightly. The white-armored warriors at the side surrounded this strange aura, forming an encirclement. Puff! A white figure appeared in front of everyone. Everyone was stupefied. It seemed to be a woman. A deity? Absolute heaven probed as he sensed the aura. This woman who suddenly appeared was, of course, Chen Yuqing. The coordinates of the teleportation were just right, and she directly arrived at the city gate. There was only a slight error, and she ran to the top of the city wall. More importantly, he even ran to the back of Lai Gu and Zhu Tian, giving the two of them a fright. Thinking that he was an assassin, the two of them immediately fell behind him. Chen Yuqing saw a cat speak. It wasn't that strange, but it was interesting that a cat could know about gods. However, these people were still very vigilant and surrounded him. Are these all Yi Hua's subordinates? He seemed to be in high spirits. However, this patrolling officer is still drinking. I have neglected my duty a little. In the future, I have to properly talk to Yi Hua about this. After all, when Yi Hua was leading the army in the past, he was rather proper. When it was time to drink, he would drink, and when it wasn't time to drink, he would definitely not drink. May I ask if this place is Void Empire? Chen Yuqing asked gently. Hearing this woman's voice, Lai Gu and Zhu Tian took a glance at each other. This woman doesn't seem to be here to cause trouble. Lai Gu waved his hand, and the white-armored soldiers spread out uniformly. This made Chen Yuqing feel that these are the soldiers that Yi Hua trained. Zhu Tian jumped onto the table and asked, This place is Void Empire. What are you, a deity, doing here? After finished speaking, Zhu Tian realized that something was amiss. Right after his honor's younger brother left, a woman came here. This can't be. Zhu Tian had a scary thought. Hearing that this place was Void Empire, Chen Yuqing's mood became extremely good. With a relaxed tone she said, Can't deities come here? His honor doesn't have a good impression of deities. Then who are you all? Aren't you all afraid of being scolded by his honor for drinking here? Chen Yuqing asked again. Lai Gu stealthily kept the wine pot, then looked towards the other side as if nothing had happened and even whistled. This sneaky action of Lai Gu's caused Chen Yuqing to laugh lightly. Yi Hua's subordinate is rather interesting. Are you here to look for someone? Zhu Tian asked confusedly, wanting to confirm his thoughts. Chen Yuqing nodded her head, then took off her conical bamboo hat. However, when Chen Yuqing took off her conical bamboo hat and revealed her stunning appearance, Lai Gu and Zhu Tian were both dumbfounded for a moment. Isn't this a little too beautiful already? This woman is actually comparable to his honor's wife. After getting used to looking at his honor's wife's appearance, this woman seems to be even more beautiful. Right now, Zhu Tian was almost certain that this woman was his honor's wife. His younger brother definitely told her about it when he returned, and she immediately came down. Lai Gu was indeed stunned, and he asked curiously, You are so beautiful, you couldn't have come to Void Empire to look for a man, right? Zhu Tian slanted his eyes and looked towards Lai Gu. You dare to take liberties with his honor's wife? I am here to look for my husband, Chen Yuqing said tenderly. There wasn't a bit of deity's tone, on the contrary, she seemed very amiable and approachable. Zhu Tian revealed an expression of, as expected. Lai Gu was very puzzled. You are the husband of a deity, why would you be in Void Empire? You are definitely a spy. Don't think that just because you look good, I will fall for your tricks. My husband's name is Yi Hua. Do you two know him? Chen Yuqing said with a slight smile. Lai Gu. Right now, Lai Gu had a dumbfounded expression on his face. Although Zhu Tian had guessed it, he was still shocked in his heart.
As expected of His Honor's wife.
His Honor's wife is here. Something big has happened.
His Honor, you are finished.
This is simply a debt of love from my previous life. Don't think that just because I am drunk, you can lie to me. Lai Gu shook his head. Why is His Honor's luck with women so good? He has 3 beautiful wives, and there is even a stunning Daji waiting for him. And now, another one came over on her own accord. How are we, subordinates, supposed to live? His Honor, please give me a way out. I am not lying to you. Yi Hua is really my husband. Chen Yuqing said lightly, then stretched out her tender and delicate hand and lightly caressed the video. A lump of smoke could be seen spreading out, and gradually, an image could be seen. The two looked at the video. This is a wedding ceremony. The long-haired and cold-looking man in the video is His Honor. Although His Honor's hairstyle changed, his temperament did not change in the slightest. However, Yi Hua, who had long hair, was still very handsome. Chapter 965. His Honor could be seen lifting up the red veil, and Chen Yuqing's beautiful face could be seen. She is truly beautiful. His Honor's taste is always so unique. It's no wonder that back then, I only met Qingya and Donghuang Baiji. Lai Gu feels that back then, the two madams weren't even as beautiful as this Donghuang Baiji.
It's only because they were trained by His Honor that they became this beautiful.
Look at the shy face of the bride.
Lai Gu compared for a moment, and found that they were indeed the same person.
But, is that His Honor? If that is His Honor, then there is a problem.
Chen Yuqing waved her hand. Do you believe me now?
Lai Gu gulped down a mouthful of saliva, and Absolute Heaven didn't say anything either.
After quite a while, Lai Gu said in a low voice, This mysterious woman, I have been following his boss for over 1,000 years, but I have never heard of you before.
Lai Gu almost shouted out His Honor.
After all, in front of a stranger, it was still not possible for him to say it out.
I got to know Yi Hua more than 2,000 years ago. However, he went missing later on. Today, Yi Hua's younger brother told me about this. You guys should know about this, right? Since Chen Yuqing had already said it like this, Lai Gu and Zhu Tian had no choice but to believe her. However, they were still conflicted from the bottom of their hearts.
After all, the appearance of this woman was equivalent to disturbing His Honor's family relationship.
One must know that in the past, His Honor had a family disturbance, and His Honor had to rely on a group of actors to muddle through. But now, this is a marriage, and His Honor has never done this with your wife before. In that case, this was the first wife and the current one was the second wife? Oh my God, about that, beautiful lady, it isn't convenient for our boss today, why don't we come again another day? Lai Gu muttered. Zhu Tian did not say anything and expressed his approval. Chen Yuqing's expression became a little downcast.
She said softly, Then I'll go by myself.
I don't need to bother you. Zhu Tian didn't dare to be careless. If I were to be promoted by His Honor in the future, wouldn't I be making things difficult for myself? Humans were all like that, vengeful. It really isn't convenient for boss to see you right now. He still hasn't mentally prepared himself, Absolute Heaven explained. Chen Yuqing bit her lips and said firmly, The reason I came here this time is to see Yi Hua. Hearing Chen Yuqing's resolute words, Lai Gu and Zhu Tian didn't know what to say as they looked at each other. Lai Gu hurriedly reported.
Your Honor, something big happened.
Right now, Yi Hua was currently resting with his eyes closed. Daji was standing behind him and massaging him, while Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were currently playing the zither for Yi Hua. However, Lai Gu's voice transmission appeared in Yi Hua's mind. Don't tell me everything is a big deal. Didn't I teach you? Your Honor, this is truly a huge matter, the number 1 madam is here. What number 1, madam? What are you talking about?
Believe it or not, I will stew you.
It's true. Your Honor's ex-wife has arrived, and she is currently heading towards the Imperial Palace. Zhu Tian and I are following behind her. Yi Hua was startled, and even Daji, who was behind him, was startled. Qin Ya and Dong Huang Baiji stopped playing, and when they saw Yi Hua, they seemed to be a bit panicked. Stop them,
Yi Hua said gravely.
Don't you understand human language?
Stop him for me. Don't let her enter the palace.
Yes. Lai Gu had no other choice.
Of course, I have to listen to His Honor.
After cutting off the connection with Lai Gu, Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. My little brother just left in the morning, and this inexplicable wife of mine came in the afternoon. I am very satisfied with my current life. I don't need anything else. Yi Hua, what's wrong? Qin Ya asked concernedly. Yi Hua tightly wrinkled his brows, seemingly thinking whether or not I should tell them about this matter. Looking at Yi Hua's wrinkled brows, Dong Huang Baiji knew that it was a huge matter. If it wasn't a huge matter, Yi Hua wouldn't frown. What's wrong? Dong Huang Baiji asked tenderly. Yi Hua let out a breath. This matter is something that I will know about sooner or later, so I might as well tell them about it directly. The woman that my little brother was talking about is here. Following what Yi Hua said, both Qin Ya and Dong Huang Baiji were startled, and they didn't know what to say. This is too fast, right? However, thinking about it, if other people knew that Yi Hua didn't die, they would definitely rush over immediately. However, the problem right now was, what kind of attitude would Yi Hua have? This was what Qin Ya and Dong Huang Baiji were worried about. Is he going to continue the relationship, or is he going to have other thoughts? Looking at the bad side, he is going to continue the relationship. Qin Ya and Dong Huang Baiji weren't saintesses, so how could they possibly accept other women? Qin Yutong was an exception. After all, they were already familiar with each other. However, this newcomer doesn't know anything, and for some reason, she came to snatch away a man. Although Yi Hua had lost his memories in the past, in short, his heart still didn't feel good. Yi Hua, what do you plan to do? Qin Ya asked in a low voice. Chase her away. Yi Hua said coldly. Sometimes, a little bit of determination is required. Chase her away? Qin Ya and Dong Huang Baiji didn't dare to believe this. This seems to be a bit too ruthless, right?
Women are just so complicated. On one hand, they are jealous, on the other hand they are pitiful, and on the other hand they are blaming Yi Hua for being too ruthless.
This kind of matter should be sat down and properly discussed. After all, Lai Gu and Zhu Tian had received a serious mission, and that mission was to stop this former wife of yours. On the streets of Wuxia Empire, everyone was looking at Qian Yuqing, and all of them were completely captivated by Qian Yuqing's appearance. As Qian Yuqing walked past, everyone's head moved from left to right, as if they were bewitched by Qian Yuqing's beauty. Wait a minute. Lai Gu hurriedly chased after Qian Yuqing. Zhu Tian, who was standing on top of Lai Gu's head, had a complicated look in his eyes. Qian Yuqing stopped her footsteps and asked curiously, "What's wrong?" "You can't go."
Lai Gu opened up his arms.
"Why?"
Qian Yuqing slightly frowned and asked.
Because. Lai Gu didn't know what to say. However, Zhu Tian said gravely, "Because His Honor doesn't want to see you, and he told us to stop you. Go back." The joy on Qian Yuqing's beautiful face gradually disappeared, and what replaced it was graveness.
Yi Hua said that? Lai Gu nodded his head.
Then let him talk to me. Qian Yuqing's tone gradually became agitated. She felt just like a woman who was abandoned by a man, and her tone carried a bit of hidden bitterness. It was normal for Qian Yuqing to have such a reaction. After all, she had liked Yi Hua since she was young, and she had liked him for thousands of years. Right now, telling her that the man who had pledged his undying love to her in the past wanted to chase her away, and if she still didn't get angry, then she would really be a saintess. Zhu Tian explained, "This former wife, please be a bit more rational, don't be impulsive. Move aside." Right now, Qian Yuqing was no longer able to maintain her calm. "Right now, I just want to see Yi Hua and ask him face to face. Do you still want Yuqing or not? Are the words that you said in the past still counted?" Lai Gu stood there without moving. His meaning was a bit obvious. He is not letting you go. End of this chapter. This ex-girlfriend of his honor really likes to fight whenever she doesn't get along with him. However, if any woman were to encounter such a thing, they would have such a reaction. If the other party didn't have such a reaction, then it wouldn't be true love. After the white dookie disappeared, the white muslin clothes on Chen Yuqing's body could be seen to have disappeared, and what replaced it was actually a set of silver armor. Furthermore, it was the kind that was wearing a helmet. Only her pitch-black hair was left floating in the air, and she looked very fierce. The armor was emitting out a faint silver radiance, and the subordinates felt that the armor was an ancient artifact. Furthermore, the armor was not an ordinary ancient artifact. After all, Chen Yuqing was the pearl of Chen family. What kind of good things could she not have? It could be said that the degree of awesomeness of this Donxia armor was not inferior to that set of armor that Yi Zizi was wearing. One must know that all of Yi Hua's equipment were stolen from others, and there were good and bad ones. Furthermore, the imperial killer that Chen Yuqing was holding in her hand was not an ordinary ancient artifact, it was a machete. Indeed, the machete looked like a machete. Being held in Chen Yuqing's hand, the machete did not seem to fit her temperament. However, this imperial killer was not an ancient artifact with an undeserved reputation. From its name alone, it could be seen that this machete was even capable of killing an emperor. Doesn't this mean that Chen Yuqing is prepared to kill an emperor? Could it be that she is going to perish together with Yi Hua, this heartless man? At the very least, from the subordinate's point of view, his honor's ex-girlfriend was starting to get serious. Wei Chong hurriedly protected the surroundings. If not, if Ji Zun were to fight with his honor, I reckon that the entire Wushu Empire would have to pay their respects to her. Move aside. Chen Yuqing, who was fully armed, shouted out. The loud sound caused cracks to appear on the ground, and the cracks spread all the way to the walls. The cracks were just like Chen Yuqing's heart. Chapter 967. Right now Lai Gu's eyes shone. I definitely cannot afford to offend his honor's former wife, but who asked them to wear black armored warriors' clothes? Therefore Lai Gu shouted out angrily, "Men, stop her for me!" Lai Gu was also proud of himself. I didn't expect that there would be a day where I would be so smart. However, after waiting for a long time, Lai Gu still did not see anyone coming out. When he turned around, he found that those people were actually standing there without moving. He was so angry that he almost fainted. Were they just watching the show and not doing anything? Wei Chong wouldn't interfere. If he didn't do a good job, he would be scolded. Absolute Heaven, who was on top of the cracked bone, jumped away as well. He hid far away and watched from afar, not wanting to participate in the battle. Who knows if his honor was just saying those words out of anger or not? If we were to reconcile with each other in the future, if his honor continues to pursue the matter, I will definitely be scolded by his honor again. Right now, Lai Gu actually wanted to cry. Why am I always the one who gets injured? Last time, I indeed wanted to act cool, but this time, it's not like that. It's her who suddenly appeared in front of me. If I had known earlier, I would have pretended not to see it. Do you want me to fight with my ex-wife now? I will say it one more time, move aside. Chen Yuqing raised the emperor killer in her hand and pointed it at Lai Gu. Lai Gu took a deep breath and took a defensive stance. Sorry. As subordinates, we have no choice. 2 streams of tears flowed down from Chen Yuqing's eyes as she shouted, Yi Hua, why are you so cruel to me? Boom. The Imperial Slayer released an enormous pressure. The blade shone with a golden light as Chen Yuqing, who had already gone berserk, stomped on the ground. A huge crater immediately appeared on the ground as Emperor Killer slashed towards Lai Gu. Before the blade even arrived, Lai Gu could already feel a sense of crisis. My former wife is really very strong. Even without his honor's help, she was still able to reach such a level of strength. I truly admire her. However, I, Lai Gu, am not someone to be trifled with. When I get angry, I won't even recognize my own family. Please don't look down on me, Lai Gu. I know how to crack bones too. The man who ran. Lai Gu could be seen turning around and running towards that group of shameless black armored warriors. Wei Chong and the others were all shouting at how shameless Lai Gu was. It was clearly you who had caused this trouble, and yet, you are actually not caring about it anymore. Boom. The entire ground had collapsed. Fortunately, Wei Chong had sealed off this area. Otherwise, This blade would have affected the entire Voidless Empire. Even so, the entire Voidless Empire still trembled slightly. After all, the equipment on Chen Yuqing's body was no joke. Yi Hua looked at the teacup on the table. The teacup was currently moving slightly, and the water within the teacup was also trembling. At the very least, that was what Yi Hua thought.
However, I, the Supreme Overlord, am not a man that you can meet whenever you want to.
Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji were no longer able to sit still. Not caring whether Yi Hua agreed or not, they immediately disappeared from the scene. Yi Hua did not stop the two women, and once again, he picked up the teacup and took a sip. Chen Yuqing stood where she was. Her aura didn't drop. Instead, it continued to rise as if she was using a cheat.
This caused all of His Honor's subordinates to be astonished.
His Honor's ex-girlfriend is not an ordinary person.
With this kind of strength, I'm afraid that her strength is already comparable to that of the 7 deadly sins. I'll say it again.
Out of the way. Chen Yuqing pointed at her subordinates and shouted angrily. Originally, I thought that Yi Hua would be very happy to know that I am here, and I will also properly help Yi Hua recover his memories. As for your current wife, that is something that happened after she lost her memories. She can forgive you, and I won't blame you. However, that was not the case at all. At this time, Wei Chong had no choice but to stand up. He cupped his hands and said, "Former madam, please calm down. I can't breathe." Chen Yuqing suddenly raised Emperor Killer up high. The dark clouds in the sky above Wuxia Empire gradually dispersed, and sunlight shone down. However, this sunlight didn't shine on the ground. Instead, it shone on the Imperial Slayer in Chen Yuqing's hand. Since he would rather hide inside, then don't blame me. Chen Yuqing shouted in a deep voice.
The murderous emperor in her hand had already ignited with a golden flame.
The brightness made people's eyes very uncomfortable. Sealing God extinguishing sun. Following Chen Yuqing's whisper, the Emperor Slayer in her hand turned into a 10,000 zhong long machete. F***ck, not to mention becoming a god. Even a god would be scared **+. At the very least, this was the first time his subordinates had seen a primeval divine artifact grow to such a huge size. If this saber fell, the entire imperial palace would be destroyed. Wei Chong even sensed that when the regicide grew in size, it had pierced through the barrier he had set up. It had indeed been pierced. Everyone from Wuxia Empire saw the 10,000 zhong long machete, and all of them became stupefied. The blade of the machete had even pierced through the clouds. Even Yi Hua saw it, and with a slightly shocked expression on his face, he thought to himself, this woman is truly formidable. However, she actually wants to kill me. She is truly thinking too much. Just as Chen Yuqing was about to descend the machete, Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji suddenly appeared at the scene. This caused Chen Yuqing's machete to stop.
However, the machete had also descended in an arc, and this caused the sky to gradually turn red.
It was as if the sky was being burned by fire. When the subordinates saw that the two madams had arrived, they hurriedly knelt down and shouted out, "Subordinates, greet the two madams." Chen Yuqing looked at Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji blankly. Are they Yi Hua's wives? These two women are so beautiful. No wonder Yi Hua doesn't want me anymore. It turns out that he found such beautiful women. Yi Hua, why are you treating Yuqing like this? For you, Yuqing is willing to give up everything, but why are you not even talking to Yuqing? Even now, you are still hiding at the back and not coming out. Qing Ya and Donghuang Baiji looked at Chen Yuqing. Because Chen Yuqing was wearing a helmet, they were unable to see her appearance. You all can retreat first. Qing Ya said faintly. Wei Chong, Lai Gu and the others let out a sigh of relief. It is best for this matter to be taken over by your wife.
Subordinate obeys.
Lai Gu immediately ran away. In the future, I will not stand out anymore. Do Fusher felt that it was still all right, but his big brother Lai Gu has recently become fond of standing out. After the subordinates left, only the three women remained at the scene. Yi Hua is very confused right now. Qing Ya said lightly. Hearing what Qing Ya said, the anger in Chen Yuqing's heart lessened by a lot. However, Chen Yuqing was still holding the Emperor Killer in her hand. Give him some time, he will think it through. Donghuang Baiji said. This woman is actually very pitiful. Dong Huang Baiji experienced this kind of feeling. Back then, Yihua also treated me like this. Back then, when I came to look for Yihua while pregnant with a child, Yihua avoided me. Just how much pain did that make me feel? And this woman in front of me is also the same. Yihua is still hiding in the palace and not coming out. He is very heartless. Seeing that Qian Yuqing still hasn't let go of Emperor Killer, Dong Huang Baiji said lightly, I understand your feelings very well. You don't understand. Qian Yuqing shouted out. Dong Huang Baiji shook her head. Back then, I was the same as you. I was also treated like this by Yihua. Back then, I was even pregnant with a child. Hearing what Dong Huang Baiji said, Qian Yuqing went into a daze for a moment, and her aura became chaotic. Qingya, who was at the side, didn't interrupt. This woman's experience is indeed quite similar to Dong Huang Baiji's. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.